did we just have a whole bunch of fun leading up to this particular show. You're here with the coach. I am streaming on behalf of Down Under Sigma and coach, and basically this is the CanCon show. Apologies if I lose the plot, because for the last 3 hours I've had no power, and literally 2 minutes after the show was meant to go live, I sent these boys a text to say power's back, and Liam's like, "You're bullshitting me."
Yeah, I swore. I'm pretty sure I swore.
Yeah, we sent out the post. We told the internets that the show would be delayed 24 hours, and then literally we've kicked off. And wow, it's the CanCon show. Clint, are you excited that? By the way, if you guys don't know who this is Clint Mallet. He is the grandfather, Australia's own hobby hero, the tournament organizer for CanCon, Call to Glory, and he will be our guest today when it comes to... sorry, I'm just going to laugh. Deke has just asked me to pay my electricity bill. It has nothing to do with paying my electricity bill.
Yeah, I don't know. Something about that golf ball-sized tail and ridiculousness that you guys have got down there.
Just a little bit. But Clint, you are an avid Age of Sigmar player. You've run a whole bunch of events. You're the co-podcast man when it comes to Herald of War. You've really kind of set the blaze, and you've really trailblazed for us. Bit of an introduction. Is there anything you want to add to that intro?
Not really. No, you kind of told all the truth and a little bit of lies and whatnot in between. But yeah, TO for CanCon. That's why I'm here today. That's the important thing for me at the moment.
And I have seen you've awarded some tournament points to anyone who's at Manfred in their list. So if you've got Manfred in your list, you have already got some additional tournament points to start your CanCon journey.
There's 2.
Wait, what?
There's 2.
And as always, we have the villain himself, as he calls himself. He is the master of Shadowhammer, Liam. G'day.
Heyo, what's up? I just woke up, really. Literally about an hour and a half ago, I woke up. So yeah.
Living the hard life. Living the hard life. But appreciate you getting up at 7 p.m. to join us here today and talk about CanCon. And today is very much about a list review. What we're going to do today is we're going to talk a little bit about CanCon. We're going to really highlight the trends when it comes to the particular event. It is an event of 240 players. I think we've had about, just under 230 lists submitted, Clint?
228. 228. The number of lists I've got. So that's good. That's good.
Yeah, which is still quite a lot of people.
It's still the biggest. It's still... and even with a few drops this week, we're gonna get to beat that 200 mark.
So it might be worthwhile. Let's set the scene for anyone who doesn't know what CanCon is. Clint, what is CanCon? Why is it so important? And why has 240 players signed up to this event? It's sold out in just over 12 hours. We crashed the website for about a good 4 hours of that 12-hour window release. What's the event all about?
So CanCon is probably Australia's biggest gaming convention for tabletop games and board games and things like that. It's been happening for about 40 odd years in Canberra, in the nation's capital. And then obviously a whole bunch of events take place within it. Tabletop war game like Age of Sigmar, like 40K, like Kings of War, all that sort of fun stuff. And then you've got board games and all that sort of stuff as well. And so Call to Glory, which is the actual name of the tournament, although nobody calls it that, is the Age of Sigmar component of CanCon. And it has definitely grown from strength to strength every year to a ridiculous level where, we are selling out 240 tickets in about 12 hours and, great things. So... And so it's sort of a pilgrimage, I guess, of a bunch of different AOS communities that all come together to sort of play together and have a good time. And, you have things like you've got up on the screen at the moment, the barbecue and bits and pieces like that. So it's really awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Liam, what's your observation? Because you've been playing since day one of Age of Sigmar CanCon. This will be your 4th CanCon. Is that correct?
Yes, this will be my 4th CanCon, and I can't believe it's been 4 years. Holy crap. Yeah. what I've seen is just the community grow, and it just keeps growing. Like, I think we just double all the time, and as we grow, the hobby level has been like amazing. Like, I remember the first year, some people just wanted to get the army done, like 3-color minimum, a little bit more than that, like adding some shades and highlights, and that's it. And as the years come on, you just started seeing like epic display boards, epic army conversions, and yeah, it's just been crazy just seeing what like just the community grow with both the gaming and the hobby side of it. And also it's really been fun seeing all the other events hate us because we take all their seats. So it's been great. It's been great.
Cool. And it's probably worthwhile. Sorry, go on, Clint.
If they just got organised, they would also sell lots of tickets.
All right, we're not going to attack the gaming systems, but
saying.
But we did see some people. Look, we did see some alternative game systems freak out and basically beg the convention not to release any more tickets for Age of Sigmar because they were selling like hotcakes.
Yes, that is correct.
The only other thing that I'll make, and there's certainly always a hashtag every year where we're basically social pressure to Clint to increase the size, and I can see that Michael Clark's already pushing for make it 480. Let's see how we go for next year. Let's double it in size. Reese is saying let's make it 600, but I think that, but since Age of Sigmar, the event has literally doubled. We started off at 55 players who had registered in the very first Age of Sigmar. We then went to 110 players the following year, 220 the following year. This year, you've only grown a little bit, but that was on your own decision, not the demand. I'm certainly sure there's a lot more people who wanted to play. So this event has just grown and grown and grown, and it's become the world's largest Age of Sigmar event. And I think you guys are right. It's a celebration of hobby. It is a competitive event, so there's always definitely hard lists and very strong players really gunning for that. But also, it's an ultimate pilgrimage. I was having a joke with some of the international guys where, Games Workshop does this big thing around New Year, New Army, but for a lot of people, CanCon is New Army. Most people go into CanCon with this new idea and they build up to this particular event. Is that? Yeah. Do you guys notice that as well?
Yep. Yeah. Our New Year, New Army sort of starts in about July, I think, when people start to go, what can I take to CanCon? So some people it's February. Some people it's February.
Some people it's February, and then some people say, "Oh, that new Bone Daddy army looks really good in November. Let's start that army quickly." So,
lots of people had that thought. Just saying.
Yeah. So, I think you see a lot of people rock over their new favorite toys at CanCon because it is the biggest event, and you get to see some cool hobby. And you get to see people who's been working on army projects for just under a year. Like they started in February, and they work onto it and stuff. So yeah,
it's a multi-system event. Lots of people. Ultimately, I think it reminded me a lot of Adepticon when I went last year. It's very much bringing the communities together. It's catching up with old mates. Doom and Darkness pulls off this amazing barbecue. So you can see in the top left and middle, there's this really long picture, and actually, there's lots more people than this particular photo holds. But we last year kicked off with a Friday night barbecue to bring the communities together. It's again here this year. The Honest Wargamer did streaming last year. We'll have some streaming again of one of the top tables. So it very much is a massive celebration of hobby that I think most people, if not all people, are really excited about.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
100%.
All right. Well, I think we've kind of talked about CanCon and given a quick introduction, and certainly I'd highly recommend, doing a Google search and finding all the photos. There's nothing but love, joy, and hobby going around. But given that, Clint, there's 230 lists that were submitted, or 228 lists submitted, we thought there was going to be two approaches. We could, A, go through every single list and basically tell you that you're most likely going to do okay and maybe 3 and 3, or, not try to offend too many people. Or we could go down a different route. And we thought, instead of trying to replicate the amazing stuff that Doom and Darkness had done last year, what we're going to do is pull together some of the data trends, the insights, the things that you want to start thinking about as you lead into CanCon, potentially some of the battalions, some of the things you need to know, what you're likely to face on the table. And then we're going to pull out some of the top lists that you might want to think about or you might want to start gunning for. how you might handle that. Does that sound like a pretty good agenda, boys?
Yeah,
I think so.
sounds
Cool.
way
Otherwise-
healthier for my mind.
Yeah, I got terrain to paint. I can't be talking about 230 lists.
I
Look,
can't
as much
read-
as I would love to talk 230 lists, there's a lot of commonality, and I don't want to do this a disservice as well. Just to say, it's a good list.
Yeah, I remember as you guys sent me those lists to go through, I was just like, I am so glad we're not reading every single one because my head would blow up.
Look, there's only one bad list I've seen, and that's Seth Cook. So, shout out to Seth. It's the only hot garbage list that we have. He is my round one grudge. I am going to be submarining this tournament because I will lose, but we will talk about that list. So
I'll see you round 2.
You will see me round 2. We'll be at bottom tables thanks to Seth. So what I will do is I'll lead this segment here, and love you guys to pull your insights out. The chat, you guys throw out some things as well, and we'll bring it up. We'll try to make this as interactive as possible. So to start off, what's the community look like? Well, who's coming to this particular event? So we mentioned there was 228 players who have submitted their list. It's a 240 player event. Where are people coming from? So I'd put out a quick survey. It doesn't capture everyone. It has about 140 people who had responded by the end of the survey. So this factors into 2/3 of our community. So where are most people coming from? It's coming from New South Wales, bringing over 60 people in. Victoria's bringing just under 30. There's probably more Victorians that hasn't responded. Queensland, ACT. What I love is the fact that there's actually, I believe there's 11 on record that are coming from New Zealand. We have some people coming from South Australia. We have one person coming from Tasmania. Represent Randy. We love you. We've also got somebody coming from Florida. We're going to have Joe Pagano from the Rage of Sigmar podcast. He's coming down from Florida. And then finally, we've got some of our European friends. So we've got some of the Scottish crew. Clint, were you surprised by some of these numbers, or what's your first take?
I'm slightly disappointed there's not more Queenslanders coming, because we know we have a fantastic scene in Queensland, but it also could just be lots of people haven't filled out the survey yet, and that's a bit of a shame. But
maybe they don't know how to use the internet in Queensland. Hey,
I'm using the internet currently. I wasn't the one with the problem tonight. Remember, you were the delay. So, I'm also a little bit disappointed we don't have anybody from WA. So we need to work. We need to stretch out the hand and say, come to CanCon, and get some more WA folks next year. But
we did have one or two, I believe, and they pulled out late, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. But perhaps they can get more friends next year, and that way we'll actually get some. So, no.
Right.
Overall, those numbers aren't super surprising based on state populations and stuff.
We also need to get someone from the Northern Territory. Surely they're playing Age of Sigmar.
Yeah, I think they are. I think there's a GW in Darwin, but I've never sort of been able to find any large scene there.
Speaking of scenes, we've got a whole bunch of wargaming communities coming together from all across the world, all across the globe. The top 3 gaming clubs that are going to be represented is, drumroll please, Measured Gaming is bringing, that's actually wrong, it should be the other way around. Measured Gaming is bringing over 13 players. We've got Lords of Ruin bringing in 10. We've got Clan Filth bringing 7. Then we have a whole bunch of people from Borderline Gaming. We've got Beasts of Belko, Hammer Hub, Western Warriors, Model Citizens, Canberra AOS, D3 Mortal Wounds. The list goes on. And I don't know about you guys, but for me, I looked at this and I was surprised at the amount of gaming clubs that I wasn't aware of.
Yeah, I don't know. If some of them I'm not sure are gaming clubs. Some of them I just think are groups of mates who've come up with a great name. But it's still good to see people getting together and participating. I know that there's some, the Salty Boys have a few more members than just the one that's there, so bits and pieces like that. So,
yeah,
it's awesome.
Also, this depends on who filled out the survey.
Yeah.
Joel McGrath, don't screen that because that's actually an error. The up in the actual columns, that's correct. It says Measured Gaming 13, but the podium has Lords of Ruin. So long story short, it's great to see these communities come along. I think it kind of comes back to what you said, Clint, around bringing your mates. And I think that's one of the reasons why we sell out so quickly is that, each of these clubs really kind of rally together to say, grab your ticket, it's going to sell out. And, you're selling batches of 5 and 10, really.
Pretty much. Yeah, overall.
Shout out to the Failed Charge Gamers and the Failed Charge podcast who have no affiliation with each other, but they seem to really enjoy failing charges.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was quite interesting. The Failed Charge Failed Charge Games from New Zealand. Completely different thing. Mostly Lord of the Rings.
Very cool.
Oh, yeah.
We asked the players from their experience level. We had said, how long have you been playing Age of Sigmar for? And it's probably no surprise as we've kind of grown, we can see that definitely there's a larger pool coming in from that 3 to 4 year range. So we found there's about 12% of the players that are coming that are within their first year of Age of Sigmar, which I think is glorious that they're coming in. And I've seen a whole bunch of posts where people are saying that CanCon is their first event. So, shout out to you guys, definitely make yourself feel welcome and come introduce yourself because I think we're all excited that the community is kind of growing and we can see that there's this real core of people who have done this circuit once, twice, 3 times.
Yeah. I'm not surprised about these numbers.
Why is that, Liam?
Just so we got the new edition that's now about a year old. So, and then most of those people who went for the new edition have been playing for about 3 years. So seeing that big number doesn't surprise me, but it's good to see that people who have been playing for less than a year is greater than the ones who've been around for a year, which kind of shows that the game has been a lot more accessible thanks to this edition, if that makes sense. Because that was a big thing now with when they've made a new edition, is it going to be accessible? And I remember you and I have spoken that the game, some of the rules have been a bit bloated. And some people say this, that the rules sometimes are a bit bloated, but it's good to see that it hasn't turned people off about it. But I'm not surprised that most people CanCon is on their calendar to go to. So seeing that most people who have been playing for about 4 or so years are coming because they know that it's a calendar to an event to put in the calendar. So yeah,
and I think for me as well, it's an event that I always go back and rave to my friends in my community. I'm sharing photos. People are watching the stream. There's nothing but hype. People are telling people to come along because it's one of those moments that if you don't come, you're likely to regret. So it's great to see this core of experienced players, and I can't wait to see them all.
Yeah.
And then finally, the question around, is this your first time playing at CanCon? Well, according to the respondents, about 50% or 42% of people are saying that this is their first CanCon. So they might have been playing locally in their garages, in their games workshops, with their small games clubs, but they're coming in droves to come to CanCon. So my advice is make sure everyone's having a great time and do your part to introduce yourself if you are coming to this event.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's awesome to see so many new faces, considering we're not growing the event hugely year on, from last year to this year. Just the sheer amount of new faces is pretty awesome. So,
fair enough.
It's good to see that it's just more new faces, and it's good to see that. So yeah.
Ben Smitty loves your dungeon, Clint. So shout out to you. And we've got a really awesome community, by the way, who's jumped on here. So they're like, get into the data. Well, here is the data. This is something that I've been working my ass off, and I hope you guys are excited because I have been running an emerging meta series, and I thought, let's take the greatness out of that and bring it to CanCon list review. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to pull out some of the insights that I found. Boys, I'd love you guys to respond, and some of these things are going to surprise you. Some of these things won't surprise you. And I think this is a bit of fun as well. So without further ado, let's talk about list choices. Let's talk about what is coming to the event. So we know that there are 228 lists that are coming. Of those lists, I think if you do the maths, it's actually 225. Some of them must have snuck in really late, Clint. But based on the 225 that I had, we have 35% coming from the Grand Alliance Order, 20% coming from Destruction, 20% coming from Death, and then 25% coming from Chaos. And you can see that there's 78, 45, 46, and 45. So first off, does that surprise you? What are your thoughts? Certainly surprised me.
I remember talking to you, Anthony, as we were sort of getting the first lists in. We were looking when there was about 30 or 40 lists in, and it was almost an even split between the 4 Grand Alliances, wasn't it?
I think Destruction was like Order and Destruction that were leading the charge at that point.
Yeah, it was fairly close though. It might have been like 28% to 22, but yeah, like it was fairly good. It's probably the best split we've had. For in the 4 years, to be honest.
Yeah.
Which is a great indicator of the state of the game and the state of the armies.
I am super happy with this because it's kind of showing that I think the big thing with most of the past ClanCons is some armies weren't supported with a battle tome. And I've always said this, where like I collect an army that mainly has a battle tome because I know it's supported in a way. But the fact that now I think we're almost up to the last 2 or 3 books that need to be revamped. Oh no, we got one more, Seraphon, I think.
Technically, Seraphon, you could probably argue that Legions of Nagash and Nurgle probably need an update, but the Seraphon definitely is that oldest style book that'll be coming.
Yep, so that's the oldest. So the fact that pretty much every army has a book now, and the fact that now everyone has something that they go, cool, I got like a spoiler, I got artifacts, I can do something with it, and you can see that nice even split. I am not surprised that Order is a bit higher because you do have Stormcast, which is the easy accessible army. And there's a few other armies where it's easier accessible to get started and get onto the table compared to like other armies where you probably have to get the start collecting box and stuff. So yeah, I'm super happy with this, and this is a really good sign for the future of the game. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely feels like a scissor, paper, rock, I think, which is great. When we look at the average list, we can start to see that some of the lists are quite interesting. Certainly, everyone is most likely walking into the game with at least a command point, which I thought was really fascinating. Now, some of the armies have more command points than others. So a prime example of that is Destruction on average has 1.2 command points up their sleeve, while the average Chaos, Death, and Order has either 0.9 for Chaos and Order, and actually Death has the least amount of command points on average. So some of them are not going in with a battalion, and the likelihood of just purchasing a command point, if anything. So fascinating to me. The average list has 25 points worth of allies. Now, the allies was an interesting one. So there's something like 450,000 points across the board of the entire list submitted. And there was only 5,500 points of total points spent on allies. Now, 92% of those lists didn't include an ally. So most armies aren't coming to the game with an ally up their sleeve. However, the Grand Alliance that was spending the most in their allies, probably no surprise, comes from Order. Now, Destruction follows second. So I guess, I wonder why and where those Order points are coming from when it comes to allies. Who knows?
Yeah.
I wonder who's a really good ally in Order.
Must be a mercenary. Must be a mercenary company. And super keen. Actually, I don't think anyone did take a mercenary company from memory. There was one.
There was one. One person out of all the lists.
What a crazy wild man.
It's actually quite good. It's actually quite a good idea what the person has done.
Yeah.
So
I think I remember that list. Yeah. 61 players bought a command points, which was fascinating. So only 1 in 3 players, or actually it's like almost 1 in 4 players bought a command point. And the average wounds across the board is 122. Now, Chaos is coming to the table with 126 wounds per average. Death is 112. Destruction 141, and Order 114. Now, obviously, you could argue the quality of wounds if you're taking large units of Grots or Noblars versus some of those Death units that are probably a bit more resilient. Liam, Clint, what comes to mind when you see things like this? Again, does that surprise you at all?
Not really. In checking the lists, that's the feel that I got around the 120 odd wounds. And allies is a bit of a funny thing.
Yeah.
But because the way that you try and average it across everything, but yeah, there was an ally that stood out above all the rest. So I'm sure I'm assuming we'll talk about that when we get to him.
Clearly, the Fungoid Cave Shaman for that additional command point when you roll a 4+. So
He's
definitely swinging it with the Iron Jaws lists.
Yeah, and one thing I want to say quickly about that slide is that due to the new edition of like General's Handbook where you can only buy one command point, has generally brought people to only be able to get, because last year you would see so many people buy 2 or 3 command points, especially in death and stuff. So yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I wanted to look at the size of the list to see what's the likelihood of you getting a triumph. So if we look at this, we can see that 56% of people are actually coming in at 2,000 points. We can see that an additional 22% are coming in at 1990. So almost, what's that, 70, almost 80% of lists are coming in at 1990 or 2,000 points. So really, if you're sitting in this 1980 or 1970 or even 1960 for some people, there's a really strong chance of getting a triumph. And you probably should remember to ask your opponent and remember to use a triumph, especially if you're sitting in that bandwidth, because you're definitely walking away with one.
Yeah, I don't see the people on 1960 ever. Obviously, they're never not going to get the triumph, but they need to make themselves some cards to take full advantage of the fact that they will probably get one all the time, unless they run up against one of the other 2% of people that have the same size.
Just be like, well, how many points are you? 960. No way. Yes way.
Yeah. So look, it's something that's often forgotten about. So just look at the stats and know that if you're sitting in that, if you're sitting at 1980, you should walk away with a triumph in most games. It'd be very unlikely that you wouldn't walk away with a triumph in a couple of your games. So definitely remember to roll it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Make yourself some cards or something.
Make yourself some cards. Try to find a marker. Make sure to ask your opponent. When we dig a little deeper into the lists, we can see that who were the most popular list. Now, obviously, there's a massive spread. I think literally every allegiance was represented. But of the top 20 allegiances, we can see that of the lists submitted, Cities of Sigmar, Ogre Maw Tribes, Ossiarch Bonereapers, Idoneth Deepkin, Skaven, Fireslayers, Ironjaw, Stormcast, Zench, Slanesh, Seraphon, Khorne, Sylvaneth, Nurgle, Gloomspite Gitz, Caradron Overlords, the Big Warg. Obviously, Big Warg, Bone Splitters, and Ironjaws are split out for the purpose of this. Flesh Eater Courts, Nighthorn, and Legion of Grief all represent the top 20% of allegiance lists.
It's interesting. Now, what was Deepkin like last year, Clint?
It was the third. So last year, the third most represented faction was Deepkin. And then you had, I think, Ironjaws was in there too, and then Stormcast. So I think
Nurgle was top 5 as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, Nurgle was pretty high. Maybe it was Stormcast, Nurgle, and then Idoneth and Ironjaws were equal. But we've had a bit of a shake-up. Let's just put it that way, for pretty much everything but Idoneth.
Yeah.
When I was checking lists, I was very surprised to see how many Idoneth lists were coming in.
I think Idoneth, even though it's probably one of the older, newer battle tomes, like newer armies that came out with 2nd edition, all their rules are so relevant for what's happening in the game at the moment. Still. Like, striking first on battle round 3 or 2, depending on your list build, is still so huge. And they do quite well against most matchups. I think, like, even I myself, right, I am not looking forward to going up against a Deepkin list with my Bonereapers. I am not looking forward to it. So, yeah. But it's good to see cities up there, because it's pretty much, like, that was, like, the mixed order back in the day, right, Anthony? It's pretty much what cities you would consider.
Yeah. I mean, you'd get your occasional dispossessed, you'd have your free people, but ultimately, Cities of Sigmar definitely, I think, that kind of shows you that these armies have been laying dormant for some time. And I'm going to call out quickly that Michael Clark has made a really good point, and that was going to be one of my next questions. Was there any omissions that you guys were surprised about? And for me, certainly seeing only one Daughters of Cain list in 228 lists certainly surprised me. I would have expected more. And then to the point of Matt Tyrrell, he's asked around Legions of Nagash. Now that's obviously split out between Grand Host, Knight, etc., etc. But Legion of Grief is the more popular of the builds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised about Daughters, in my opinion. That army, and I did talk about this recently in a bunch of mates that I just spoke with about it. Daughters of Cain has dropped off quite a bit, and also no one really wants to paint 90 Witch Elves. It wasn't a fun time. It's very much like it's very much an army that's like very niche. And people who ran it just all they did was just do 3-color minimum. They really did like for the hobby kind of aspect. I think the one Daughters of Cain player who is playing has actually put a lot of effort into the hobby part of building the army because they love the army. So yeah, I'm not surprised. And the fact that they're running Calibron as well kind of shows you that they're not the biggest power gamer. They're going like, cool, I really like this. This is what I'm going to do. Because all you saw with Daughters when they were up there was Hagnar because there was clearly a better build. So all those people probably who did play Daughters are gone to the one with the big letters now, Petrifix, in my opinion. Even like me, I played Daughters and I'm playing Petrifix. So yeah.
Also, shout out to our Seraphon players. We just mentioned that it's the oldest book that's currently in rotation, yet it's in that same pocket between Slanesh, Khorne, Sylvaneth, Nurgle. So people are either coming here with a competitive build in mind, or they just want to roll dice and play with their Space Lizards. So kudos to them. I was surprised to see as many Seraphon as that are coming.
We've always had lots of Seraphon at CanCon. We had lots last year as well. People love dinosaurs. But I can't blame them, so.
I can't blame them at all. Good on Seraphon. Let's dig a little deeper. Let's actually see what these lists are made of. So when we look at the realms of origin, basically where you are coming from. Now, some armies, well, actually only one army is mandated by your allegiance. So Cities of Sigmar forces you to come from one of the two realms. But from most other armies, you're obviously tied into choosing a realm, and often that's derived by the artifact that you want to pick from Malign Sorcery. So from a representational point of view, we can see Akshi, Gairan, Shaiish are certainly the larger of them, and certainly you can probably start thinking about why people are coming from there, whether they want, an Aether Quartz brooch, they're looking for, you're looking for the Ethereal Amulet, you're looking for Ignax Scales, you're looking for Thermal Rider Cloak, maybe Gaia Strike. Some of these armies are certainly more they're looking for more of those than others. What surprised me was a 30-odd% of people who actually didn't come from a realm, whether they forgot, whether they're just not as narrative as some other people, or they just don't find a reason to take a realm.
Some people also pick a realm and then do nothing with it, though. So
yeah,
I remember seeing a bunch of lists that have, they'd picked Ulgu or Shaiish or whatever, and had nothing from the realm there. So it'd be interesting to see how that translates, whether that is their narrative, whether their army comes from there, or they've just picked one that they like. So
yeah, I myself, I just didn't do a realm because I'm not using the realm artifacts or anything. Like some people might just do it just to be like, oh, my army's from like realm of Ulgu, but they take none of the artifacts and stuff. So yeah,
well, Petrifex isn't a realm, so
Yeah, and I believe from the memory, majority, if not all, of Petrifex didn't come from a realm. So whether they weren't taking a battalion, I didn't need the additional artifact or what that might be. But I'm not picking on OBR. I remember seeing it very.
What I will say is recently GW have released some great battle tomes where there's been no need to take an artifact from Malign Sorcery.
Yeah,
that's also true. That's also very true.
Like, I have gone through so many of the new books, and I'm like, there is no point going to Malign Sorcery. Malign Sorcery was amazing last year because it did fill that gap with people who didn't have a supported battle tome to give them some good artifacts. Now, with all these new battle tomes, there's been no real need to go there. So,
yeah. We've got 14 newer books than last year. So, it's a bit different.
We have options,
very, very
and we're not rating on people not taking a realm, but it was interesting to see that 1/3 of people didn't choose a realm for whatever reason they chose. when it comes to Hero Hammer, this really should have been animation, but I got lazy. So I wanted to see, is this game going to be Hero Hammer, and what's going to happen here? So we can see there are going to be 10 Nagashs on the table. We've got 3 Alariels, we've got 2 Marathis, we've got 8 Archeon, and we have 7 Gotrek. So for anyone who is running Gotrek, there is a competition on the Twitterverse that Darren is running, so definitely check that out. But 7 Gotreks. Did we expect more, considering his 520 points? Do we expect less? Are we surprised that Archeon's returned with the Slaves to Darkness book? And how many of those Nagashs are sitting in Petrifex Elite?
You asked lots of questions there, all back to back. So Gotrek's not surprised at all. 1, he's a cool model. 2, there's lots of Idoneth armies for him to sit in that are coming. He's in a couple of other ones as well, but a lot of him are in Idoneth, I think. And it's great to see Archeon back, because I think we had maybe 1 last year, maybe. I think 1, maybe 2. You know, so to see that increase with him getting a bit of a rejuvenation, it's great. But and he's been taken in a bunch of different allegiances, a bunch of different allegiances as well, which is good.
Again, I just want to call it this quick comment. I love this. So someone's called out that there's only 1 Daughters of Cain list and 2 Marathi.
Wait till you see we go through this, man. It's going to be great. Yeah. Like it is epic. This list.
That's not a mistake.
That's not a mistake. One thing I would like to say is Archeon, since he has all the marks and stuff, and also he just gained the Hedonite keyword with Slanesh, which is a huge buff. Like you guys might be thinking, oh, it's just a keyword, but when you read the Hedonite book, you're like, holy crap, that's huge. So the fact that there have been new books and he can be in all of them, like with the Chaos Gods and Slaves of Darkness, he is very versatile. He's pretty much a model that you can just buy, and then you know that you can just put him in any Chaos God army, and he is a great tool for it. I am surprised of how many Alariels there are. That was one kind of surprise, and it's good to see. And then Gotrek, I am not surprised by those numbers. I actually was expecting more, because for a 2,000 point army, if you just want to get an army done quick, just paint him up and he's 550 and just do the rest later.
But you look at what's populous in Order, which is cities, and he doesn't fit as well in cities as he does in everything else. Because cities needs all of those points to buy all of their tools to do their job. So, you know, I think if he fitted into cities better, you'd probably see double-digit Gotreks.
I really wish they would allow him to be in that book. Just be like, he's allowed to gain the keyword. Like, imagine him on Tempest Eye. Just being like, cool, let's do something or something like that. I think that'd be cool. But, yeah. We have no Gore. Oh, no, we have 1 Gotrek.
Yeah, we do, and it's going to be one of our list reviews. So I think there is at least 1 Gordrak. Cool. Yeah. No surprise. And I can see the chat's like asking me a whole bunch of other things. I want to know different parts. Unfortunately, I didn't look at Thankwall. I didn't look at all other things. I don't remember there being a Thankwall, but
I don't think there was a Thankwall.
Feel free to check the lists yourself. Clint, you published the lists already, so feel free to. Yes, Ben Spinetti, Volturnus is a character. There's lots of millions of characters. Chill out.
There's actually probably more Volturnuses than there are Marathis. I think he's got a point there. There are a few Volturnuses.
This was about Hero Hammer. This is about the most expensive ones that we have.
Turnus is also a hero?
Most expensive.
Right.
Anyway, moving along, Clayton. On the same weekend, we have LVO that's happening. So LVO is one of America's largest events, and they have their Age of Sigmar tournament with 169 players, so a little bit smaller than us. And there was an interesting fact put out the other day by Dan AOS Shorts, and he had said that there's something like 950 Mortek Guard. I put out a post to ask, how are we tracking? And the good news, depending on how you want to look at it, is that we have 790 Mortek Guard. So what that means...
You should all be ashamed of yourselves.
just with that Mortek guard thing, I think most of these people who are running, when we look at the list or when you see the list for OBR, a lot of them are actually quite heavily based off the Feast of Bones box. So I think a lot of people bought that box and just got the Mortek guard and probably bought an extra box or two. And they didn't do what America did, where you buy like 30 of just the separate Mortek guard and go nuts.
But they're also one of the best units in the book, though. So it would make sense that you would see them. It's
cool to see, though, that some, and like, I don't want to go too much into OBR, but some people in OBR literally picked cool models over like OP. Like, there's just some models where I'm just like, why is this in this list? Like, why is it there? Like, you're not using it like effectively, but I think they must have just liked the model, like the Harvester. So, yeah.
Yeah. And Michael Clark raised a really good point as well, is to say that so there are other undying hordes. So I mentioned the Mortek Guard, the Chain Rasp Horde. There are 690 of those coming, 660 Clan Rats, 600 Plague Monks, 360 Hearthguard Berserkers, 300 Skeletons, 260 Grots, 250 Demonettes, 230 Crypt Ghouls. And Michael had mentioned, 600 Plague Monks even after they had their War Scroll rewritten. So very interesting to see how they play out, and if that was a decision that they just rode the War Scroll change, or if they have found some new secret tech that they're going to tap into at CanCon.
So many Undying Horde.
Yeah, I think Plague Monks are still good, and they still make up bulks of you've got 600 Plague Monks there, but you'll find that 120 at a time will be in a bunch of lists. Like, there's a lot of lists that have lots of Plague Monks in them.
Yeah.
Fair enough. When we look at the allegiances, and again, we've just looked at the top 6 for this particular one to see of the allegiances, where are they coming? So maybe you want to start getting your head across these. When it comes to Cities of Sigmar, there are 19 Cities of Sigmar lists, and we can see that Hallowheart is the one that dominates the most. There are 8 of the 19 that are coming from Hallowheart. That's the magic-based city. Followed by, we've got a kind of an even spread between Anvil Guard, Greywater Fastness, Hammer Hall, Living City, Tempest Eye, which has some definitely benefits when it comes to shooting. They're kind of coming in second. Hallowheart, does that surprise either of you? Or are we expecting more of Tempest Eye? Or what's your take, Liam?
I was expecting more Hammer Hall, but Hallowheart post nerf is interesting, in my opinion. But it's good to see Living City. And yeah, also I really wanted to see more Anvil Guard, so I can just see more War Hydras, but that's just me. But yeah,
Hallowheart's still really strong though, even with the adjustment that they got in the errata. They still have wizards that get 2 spells each, and you get rewarded for taking wizards in a game where there's going to be lots of magic, and with CanCon being in the realm of Gorian and having access to those spells, I think Hallowheart was the natural choice.
Yeah,
is it a response to Petrifix as well?
I think people who are running, I think people who have got a Hallowheart list have been playing Hallowheart probably from the start of the Cities of Sigmar book, maybe going wizard heavy, and that book came up before Petrifix Elite. I think what you'll see now is, hopefully, if these OBR players wake up, is they start realizing there's going to be so much magic now thanks to Zeech coming in. Especially now since that book came out and we still got a few Zeech players, and it'll probably just increase after CanCon. But they'll start going to the other legions and start playing with them. But that's just my opinion. That I think those Cities of Sigmar players have had their list set on even before OBR.
Yeah. Ogre Mortribes, which was our second most popular list submissions. We got Blood Gullet, which is clearly the one that's leading the charge. When we have Boulderhead, then there's a kind of little bit of a splattering between Meat Fist, Under Guts, and Winterbite. Cool. Nothing I want to say here. And obviously we'll dig a little deeper with the lists, but just making sure you guys want to chat. The chat has definitely been calling me out here on this particular one. So the Ossiarch Bonereapers, there are 18 lists, and 18 are coming from Petrifex Elite. Boy, did that surprise me.
No.
Not.
I remember
Yeah.
Can I say, I was talking to you about this before this mission. I'm like, I'm going to be the hipster bringing in Mortis Praetorians, and you literally talked me out of it. You said, no, are you sure about it? Are you sure it's a good idea? Blah, blah, blah. I could have been that one person. Not cool, man. But yeah.
Yep.
Not surprised.
Cool. Clint.
Yeah, I've really nothing to say on that. I think it speaks for itself, and I think
Plus
what
armor,
you'll find.
one.
Yeah, I think what you'll find is you'll see a team at GW looking at some of these stats and going, okay, that's where we need to devote some attention.
Also, LVO again, just quickly. I think they had 19 lists, and all of them have been to Petrifex as well. So one weekend, almost 40 lists, 40 Petrifex. Like, yeah.
And Super King said Liam's trying to desperately avoid the topic of staying on him chasing the meta at CanCon. So
Liam is a meta chaser. The end. That's that discussion done.
Idneth Deepkin, we've got was it Futhan and Domhane represented probably from the strongest of the 15. Fire Slayers, basically all coming from one lodge almost. Someone's missing.
I'm not surprised by that.
And then finally, Zench. We've got our bit of a spread when it comes to Zench, but certainly one that's stepping up more than others.
Yeah. Respect to these Zench players because they literally have had the battle tome for less than 2 weeks. Respect.
Yeah. But to be honest, there were some people who were bringing Zinch beforehand, and they just got stronger.
They got stronger.
I know probably, what are there, 9 Zinch players? I know probably 4 that were already always going to be bringing Zinch. So I think they got.
Yeah, as you were saying, for example, Ash McEwen, he was always going to take Zench. But the new book, he was like, oh, okay, I'll see what happens because he didn't know if it's going to be a huge shakeup, if he had to paint more or whatever. But and I've played against it and it's strong. Like that book is super strong. So it's good.
Ben Spinetti's asked me if there's a shark count. There is no particular shark count in this, but if you want to use Twitter or you want to DM me or use the Facebook page to message when you got a particular stat that you'd like to know. I know, I think somebody asked me about how many Ogre Gluttons would be in the lists as well. Feel free to shoot me a message and I'm happy to share some other stats when it comes to the lists that are being submitted to CanCon.
Basically, it's not safe to go in the water, Ben. That's all I'm saying. It's to the shark count.
There were a few sharks, but probably not as many as Ben would like. Or maybe Ben wants less sharks, so he's special and unique.
No, I was surprised by the amount of sharks there were.
I was surprised by the amount of soul grinders we had. There's a whole bunch of soul grinders coming, and more than just one player.
Yeah, most of them are one player. Let's keep going there.
All right, so we've got the most chosen artifacts. Thanks, Clint, for keeping me on track. So the most chosen artifacts. So we've got the Ethereal Amulet with 22 selections. We have the 8th Quartz Brooch coming in with a 17, 16 coming from the Thermal Rider Cloak, 16 coming from the Godbone Armor. So before anyone asks me if my numbers are incorrect, how can we have 18 Ossiarch Bonereapers and 18 Petrifex Elite, but only 16 Godbone Armor? That's because 2 of the lists only have named heroes. So they actually don't have a regular hero that could take the Godbone Armor. So that's why the numbers look a bit weird, if you want to call me out on those.
Yeah, why are they wrong?
Nah, why are they wrong? Because
you can't count.
Because one list only has Nagash as their sole hero, and the other one I think is Arcan the Black and Nagash. Or it's like Arcan and
isn't it like
maybe Cavalos or something? Yeah, it was basically 2 named characters, no other heroes. So other than that, we've got the Griffeather Charm, Splatter Cleaver, the Tyrant Slayer, Cloud of Midnight, and the list goes on. So you guys, I might post these on Twitter later on, but you can start to see these, got the Amber Glaive, the Doppelganger Cloak, the Shroud of Warp Flame, Soul Thief, Brand of the Svard, the Wither Stave, the Gaia Strike, Sword of Judgment, Skull, Shard Mantle, and Ignac Scales all coming in as the top 20 selections. Liam, what's your take on why so many people taking the likes of the Ethereal Amulet and the Aether Quartz Brooch and the Thermal Rider Cloak?
I think the Ethereal Amulet's really good because it's just one of those artifacts that's going to keep being useful. Just ignoring Rend, especially if your character's got a 3-up save, and Mystic Shield or spending a command point in the hero in the combat phase to reroll 1. So it's like 3-up rerolling 1s, ignoring all Rend. Aether Quartz Brooch, due to the fact that command points can only be bought once, and you can get battalions as well, but getting to be able to like retain them is a really good. Thermal Rider Cloak, people love to fly over charges. Like imagine like Keeper Secrets flying over, killing the heroes. Boom, good to go. Godbone Armor, it's an artifact that they have to take for Petrifix. And ignoring the first wound of every phase is ridiculously strong. So like no one's complaining, people are gonna take it. So yeah, like seeing those top 4, it doesn't surprise me. And it kind of shows you that Ethereal Amulet really needs to be fixed in a way, because it's a lot of things, like, for example, we see in Death, where it's like a must include for your Vampire Lord. So, yeah, like, I would love that rule to be changed, or something to be changed, because it's just too good. It makes sense. Even some people are taking it with a 4-up save. Like, I saw some people with a Ghoul King on Terrorgeist with Ethereal Amulet, just to have a constant 4-up save. So, yeah, it's really good. And as someone else said, Stonehorns.
Yeah, Michael Penne said the amulet on the Maw Crusher and the Stonehorn is the trend that we're seeing right now. That's where a lot of those ethereal amulets are going towards.
They have a 3-up save. They can't get bonus to cover because they're monsters, so having that 3-up save makes them really durable when they're a mass target to kill. So, yeah.
Clint, anything you want to add to that?
No, I don't really have anything to say. Actually, although it would be interesting to see what the numbers were like if you took out all the compulsory artifacts. So where people are given a choice to see, but I suppose your first 3, they are obviously non-compulsory, but then like your number 4 and number 4, 6, 5, 7, 8, like there's a bunch in there. It'd be interesting to see how that splits once you take out the compulsory ones.
Cloud of Midnight. Yeah. Like for example, Cloud of Midnight, which is a Deepkin one, is super strong. Shutting down here, shooting and stuff is really good. So, yeah, it's really good.
Brandon the Sfard is coming from all of Ogre Maw tribes. So, yes, you're right. A lot of these artifacts are dictated by the sub-allegiance people are taking. But what isn't being chosen by the sub-allegiance is the endless spells. So I'm a big magic person. I love my magic. I went from Gitz magic to Hallowheart magic. Yes, I am one of those 8 Hallowheart players. But of the endless spells being chosen, we can see that 20 are coming from the Balewind Vortex. No, that's why have I got double Balewind Vortex.
And also 16 are coming from the Balewind Vortex.
That's really awkward. Clint, you keep talking, and while I quickly stall and actually get the actual correct number.
Right, okay. Yeah, we did see lots of Balewind Vortexes and lots of Emerald Life Swarms, which I'm not surprised about. We're playing in Gorian, so who doesn't like enhanced healing on their endless spells? And then I was really surprised to see how many of the Bonereaper spells there were, that Bone Tithe Shrieker. There's like... Yeah, there were quite a few, and I was very surprised that people had the points for it.
Well, by the way, just looking at the numbers. Sorry, this is an input error. The first one is Geminids. So there are 20 Geminids. Balewind is 16. Nice. Life Swarm is 16. So Geminids is the number 1 choice of endless spell. So
that's good, because that was confusing because it was not in your list anywhere, and I knew there were some. Yeah.
Clint, how do we give Anthony this job again?
It's his show. We have to respect it.
But 20 from Geminids, 16 from the Balewind Vortex, Emerald Life Swarm 16, the Bowtie Shrieker coming from Ossiarch Bonereapers at 12, Chronomatic Cogs is sitting at 10. The Malevolent Maelstrom is the one that kind of surprised me at 9, where the people had a cheeky... really?
No, it's 10 points, cheeky unbind. You just fit it in. You can put it into your list and still get a triumph. And it's quite good if you've got a list that doesn't have too much magic in, because that extra chance at an unbind can be quite useful. So
Clint, to get on back to what you were saying about the Bonereaper spells, Bonereapers are in a really weird place where their points are kind of odd, because they always, even though you can't, like, once you hit the 1900 point mark, you can't fit anything more. You can't fit anything else. Like, and it happens so often when you get up to 900, like, what can I add in? Can I drop something and then add in like Death Riders or something instead of 1 unit more tech? And since the Carrion's 20 points, the Predator's 40, and same with the Shrieker, I'm pretty sure, you just squeeze them in because that pretty much is 100 points of endless spells that you got to fit.
I guess the argument on the other side is, do you try to go for the Triumph?
There's no point for the Triumph in Bonereapers because you can't use half of them.
I'm not talking Bonereapers. I'm talking just generically when you start looking at some of these things. But
well, Clint was talking about he was surprised of how many Bonereaper spells there were.
Yeah. Yeah, but what you said makes sense, Liam. Like, if you get to 1900, you throw the cheeky, you throw in 80 points of spells, you still got a chance of a Triumph.
Which you can't use. You can't use half the Triumphs when you're playing Bonereapers.
Yeah, that is fair. You're not getting additional CP.
If only you could, though, because they're a really underpowered army. So,
I know, right? Like, we need that buff. Like, we need
shout out to OBR who need help. But
definitely.
Outside of that, you've got Chromatic Cogs. We've got Palisade. You've got Fire Slayers, Firewall. You've got Quicksilver Swords, Umbral Spell Portal, the Warp Lightning Vortex from Skaven. We've got the Aether Void Pendulum, the Nightmare Predator coming from OBR, Soul Snare, Shackles, Gravetide, Scuttletide coming from Gloomspite Gitz, Sylvaneth Spite Swarm Hive. We've got the Soul Stealer Carrion, Hex Gorgeous Skulls, and then the Purple Sun. So they're all our top 20 endless spells coming. So a good mix.
Anthony, sorry to interrupt, but do you have an endless spells per list average? Did we have that earlier?
It is not something that I have done.
Okay. Okay.
There
are some lists that have 6 or 7 in them. Yeah. So, throwing that average out.
You've got some Gitz list, and you've got some like Hallow Heart lists, and you've got a few lists that have really, there's two ends of the spectrum. You've got people who've taken like 5, then people have taken like 1 or 2, or even none. So, and I think too, I think people like Seraphon as well. Seraphon, it's almost like you come to the battle with a Balewind Vortex straight away to help with the summoning. So they're probably boosting up those 16 Balewinds quite easily.
I don't remember seeing any comments, Fluxy.
No, there are
maybe one.
I've got one. I think there was about four comments. Again,
they're not
feel
in
free to
list.
shoot me over. There are some comments. We've got some other random endless spells, but these were the top 20.
Is that seriously 84? Is it 84 or 64 endless spells?
There are currently 64 endless spells available. That's updated with the 3 new Zench ones.
So messed. So many choices for Kharadron Overlords.
The final data set that I'll share with you guys before we get into our favorite lists is some other things to consider. One is going to be the battalion. So there are a few dominant battalions. The Iron Fist coming out of the Iron Jaws, Lords of the Lodge coming out of the Fire Slayers, Supreme Saborites is OBR.
No, Slanesh.
No, what is it? Slanesh. That's it.
Slanesh. It's the character one.
Yeah, that was a question mark after I said that, not an exclamation mark.
That's why we answered you.
That's why we answered you.
Me. And then we've got a whole bunch of other ones like the Gorman, the Shield Corp from OBR, Thunderquake is coming out from our Seraphon friends. We've got the Whitefire Retinue coming from Hallowheart, Tyrants of Blood, Skull, Change Host, Shroud Guard. So interesting change host. We know there are 9 Zench lists coming, and 4 of them have the change host. So Shroud Guard, Plague Touch, Warband, Blight Cyst, the KO one, the Grunstock, Escort Wing, and then etc. etc. So whole bunch of 2s and 1s.
Yeah. Not surprised. With most of them, especially the Lords of the Lodge. Like, how many Fire Slayers lists were there? 9?
10.
10. So
Just
one person
that doesn't have it. Yeah.
One person's like, nah, screw it, be hipster. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay,
Screw you, Meta.
Screw you. Just quickly before we go into spells, Anthony, quick question.
Yeah.
Did you add in the fact that Nagash and Ark can know all the spells of the spell lore of OBR?
It's whatever's. It's no. This is all generated from what is submitted on people's lists. So if they've written down every single list spell, then yes. If this is pure user data.
Cool.
No, this is spells that people have selected, and
cool.
you don't select.
Cool. Yeah, sick. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think some got some got submitted with all the spells under Nagash, and I just took it out because you're not picking spells.
List.
It's just you're just taking up space.
I know Deke's very excited that he's the one and only Vault of Souls endless spell. Just calling that out as well.
Oh, good for him.
But yes,
does he want to go to battle?
He's unique. He's special. Shout out to Deke. And then finally, there's a whole bunch of spells. If you're interested or concerned or want to know more about these spells, things like Rib Cracker from the Ogres. We've got more War Power coming from Skaven, Prayer of Ashes, Fire Slayers, etc. Born of Damnation, the great big green hand of Gork, Searing Wounds, Roaming Wildfire. So feel free to screenshot this, go research if you're concerned or interested in any of these spells, because again, they might be coming to a gaming table near you. If nothing more, if you see these might be the ones that you want to dispel first.
Yeah.
It's Born of Damnation, Momo Warp Power. Yeah, both. Yes to both of those.
Yeah. Clint, by the way, you have published all the list. Where can people find the list if they want to kind of follow along or maybe watch this, go look at the list after this video?
Yep. So the lists will be available on the Heralds of War website, heraldsofwar.com/CanCon. They'll be up there after this. Currently, they're available in the Call to Glory Facebook event. And then I believe that Dan from AOS Shorts will be making them available on his website also.
Awesome. And if people want to watch the live stream, it is kicking off in Australia, it is this Saturday. If you're in the US or in the UK, it'll likely be happening on your Friday. But Saturday, the 25th, Saturday the 25th, we are kicking off. It is 6 rounds. Clint, we've published the scenarios in advance as well, and it is in the realm of Gairan. So realm spells and as well as realm effects are in play. And if you've got an endless spell that comes from Gairan, you get to tap into that benefit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I recommend that anyone who's coming go and read the spells. Read the correct version of the spells too. I've been asked a ton about Mirror Pool, but that got errated about 12 months ago. So, go read all the spells and make sure you're up to date on the errata for everything so that, you can be prepared.
Especially Mirror Pool. Shout out to Mirror Pool. Joel Graham has said, do people know there's a teleport? Yes, but it is a modified version. Do go read the updated FAQ.
Yeah. The angriest people seem to be the one who haven't read it properly. So just that's not true for everyone who doesn't like it, but the angry messages I've gotten are people who aren't using the errated version. So
fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
Should we get into some lists?
That's why the people are here.
Anything you guys want to add and just kind of just stall for a minute while I bring these all up?
Right.
How's life?
There you go. We've got the lists. You've got all the lists. What are we doing? We're going through Destruction first?
Yeah, let's start with Destruction. Shout out to Destruction, our friends from Destruction. I think they were the third most represented faction, and we've chosen the way we're going to do this is, given that there is 200 and almost 30 lists, we are going to choose some of our favorites, whether they are top 10 contenders or top 20 contenders, ones that are really interesting, ones that we thought were the stronger of the build. There are a lot of similarities between certain builds, but there are minor tweaks across the way. So we're calling out some of the key ones. If we don't talk about your list, it doesn't mean that you're hot garbage. It just means we don't have 12 hours to do a list review to tell you that your list is good. You could potentially win CanCon. It's going to depend on the matchups, which is likely what we would have said, depending on who you are and how much we like you. So does that sound fair?
I'm cool with that. I don't want to be for 12 hours. I love you all, but it'll kill me.
All right, so let's talk list. Let's bring up Ben Camden Smith. Let me just bring this up a little bit easier for you guys to see. So Ben Camden Smith is bringing the Ironjaw's allegiance. He's coming from the war clan of the Iron Sons, and he's from the mortal realm of Hish. What is he bringing to the table? You're right there?
Yeah.
Cool. He's bringing a mega boss on Maw Crusher, which is the general. Is coming with the boss Gore Hacker and Chopper. The trait is the right fist of Duck Bad. Oh God, this is going to be a nightmare. The artifact is the Sunblessed Armor. The mount trait is the Meanin. Bringing Gordrak as well, so probably one of the only lists from memory that are bringing Gordrak as opposed to a Mega Boss. So we've got both here. So we've got Gordrak and a Mega Boss. Gordrak is bringing the mount trait of the Weirden. We have a War Chanter. We've actually got two War Chanters. One is coming with the Eighth Quartz Brooch and the Fixin' Beat, while the other one has the Killer Beat. He's bringing 3 units of pigs, 3 units of pigs, 3 units of pigs, 3 units of pigs, so 4 units of 3 pigs in the Gore Fist Battalion. So kicking us off, what do we think of Ben Camden Smith and the bacon list?
So I picked this one because I saw pigs and Gordrak and I was sold. That was legitimately I was like, this is cool. This list is actually going to surprise people how freaking fast it is. It will be in your deploy. If you're going to give them first turn, he will be in your deployment zone, and you're probably not going to leave for a little while. It's the best way I'm going to describe it. You've played against something similar to this, right, Anthony?
I have played Ben's list. Very, very, very similar, if not this list. And it's tough. It's very tough. I won't give away his strategy, but certainly he really wants to charge you. He is going to get a whole bunch of benefits to charge you. He's got a doubled, potentially destructive bulk one coming from, or both coming from the different Maw Crushers in the list. And he's going to really want to make the most of that command point that he's going to spend. That's going to do a whole bunch of damage, or it's going to, increase or decrease the rend. There's a lot of benefits here when we start looking at these lists.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, it's a very fast list, and you'll probably get stuck. So yeah.
Yep. You gotta love the pigs. Pretty much. You didn't used to see lots of them, and now we are, and that's great. I think.
It's almost like they saw the sales report and said, "Let's make these guys good."
Yeah, I think
have 4 units. What are they going to do?
Yeah.
I think for me, the big question, and certainly for me, I got punished by the first iteration of this list where Ben had, I think he had I think he only had 1 more crusher, but he had more pigs in the list. And, this type of list, and there are other types of list, are going to try to hit you, and they're going to try to make the most of a single charge. You've got to think to yourself, can I handle potentially a Maw Crusher and Gordrak hitting me, and can I handle that? Can you absorb that much damage, and then how hard can I hit him back? That's the question you've got to ask yourself with this list. But I really like this one. One of the reasons I was really happy to talk about it.
Yep.
Yeah, and the reason why I picked this list over some of the other ones that are just pigs, the fact that he had Gordrak, I thought that was very different, especially since Gordrak can actually be a massive beast in combat when he gets all his buffs and stuff going on. So yeah, really cool list.
Yep.
We'll pick the other Iron Jaws list, and our friend is in the chat right now. That is the Overlord himself, Joel McGrath. So Joel McGrath is taking an Iron Jaws list. He has elected not to go Iron Sons. So he's not going down that sub-allegiance. So he's going general Iron Jaws. So what's he taken? It's got some similarities, but it has got some differences. So he's got a double Mega Boss on Maw Crusher. So he's not going with Gordrak. He has the 2 War Chanters. He has the 4 units of 3 pigs. And he's got the Iron Fist Battalion. He's brought an extra command point, and we can see that he hasn't gone with the Ethereal Amulet. He hasn't gone with the Eighth Quartz Brooch. He's decided to go with the Ethereal Amulet instead, which is obviously ignoring Rend on the Maw Crusher, which I believe has a base of a 3+ armor save.
Yeah. It's based on a 3-up save. What you're seeing difference with this list is that the Mega Boss on Maw Crusher, that is his general, is going to be pretty hard to kill because the Weirdon, I think he ignores spells and stuff on a 4-up. And an Aether Amulet, he is now ignoring your Rend. So pretty much that Maw Crusher is going to be sticking around no matter how many Arcane Bolts or Pendulums you throw at it, and it's going to come in and kill you. The big thing as well is the Iron Fist is only like an extra D6 move than I think it was like 15 or whatever for the Gore Fist because it's so much quicker. So he is playing a bit more. He can play a bit more defensive with this list with the amount of wounds he has from those piggies. So this list is very much like not in your face, but he can be if he wants to be. So it's a very interesting take with the whole piggy list, and I quite like this list. And if I was going to do an Iron Jaws list, this is probably the competitive one I would pick, in my opinion. So yeah, it's fun. It looks cool as well. So
yeah. There's nothing more to add to that.
All right. Well, and to be honest with you, Joel McGrath is not only represents the overlords of Measure Gaming, but also is a masters level player as well. Someone who certainly is winning tournaments and is really going to challenge for the top 10, if not going for podium. So certainly someone that I would want to watch out for.
Yeah.
The next one from the list we'll pick is we'll go to my little favorites. Who wants to do the big warg? Let's focus on the little warg, and we're going to pull up 3 Gloomspite lists here, all very different. I'm very excited about. The first one here is Jason. Jason is running a very much a Troggoth themed Gloomspite Gitz list. One has got the Dankhold Trog Boss, which has got the Loon Skin and got Gaia Strike. We've got 2 Fungoid Cave Shamans. One has the Verdant Mantle. One has the Hand of Gork as a spell, while the other one has Itchy Nuisance. So one's got a teleport and one's got a -1 to hit. We have a unit of 6 rock, not the Fellwater, we have the Rock Gut Troggoths. We have a unit of 3 Rock Gut, another 3 Rock Gut, 3 Fellwater Troggoths, 3 Fellwater Troggoths. To complement that, we've got 20 Stabbers, we've got 20 Stabbers, we've got 20 Stabbers, and we've got the Trog Herd Battalion. To go along with this, we've got 2 spells. One is the Scuttle Tide, probably my absolute favorite endless spell. I wish I had it still today. And Geminids, one of our first of many Geminids. So this is coming in at a total of 1970 with an additional command point up his sleeve from the Battalion. Thoughts on this particular list? We don't see many Troggoths. Are people going to be able to handle these really rock hard units?
Ordinarily, I'd say maybe they can, but they are going to be wrapped in... I imagine they'll be wrapped in Stabbers so that you're not actually fighting the trolls. And then they'll just be whacking stuff over the top. It's worth... Itchy Nuisance is the fight at the end of the combat phase spell. So, super important in the meta at the moment to have that spell in your army. And then, obviously, you've got Scuttle Tide, which is just a fantastic endless spell for 30 points. I'm really excited by this list because it's full of trogs, which is not something that you see all the time. But it's also got those bodies from the Stabbers to hold objectives as well.
I think it's cool. Trog Herd's it's an interesting battalion, but it's a lot of points for what it does. I think it's like wound rolls of 6 does +1 damage.
Yeah, if an unmodified wound roll of an attack is made in the melee phase, is a 6, you add 1 to the damage characteristic.
Yeah, and I thought it was really interesting, but he really went MSU pretty much with the Troggoths. Because if you did like 2 units of 6 Rock Guts, I think that would kill quite a lot, but he does need to spread around the board. But I rate this list. I think it's cool. Interested to see what it looks like on the table. So yeah.
The Fungoid Cave Shamans on a 4+ each round are going to generate additional command point, which will be fascinating to see how he uses that. On top of that, obviously, we've got Gaia Strikes. We've got an absolute beat stick when it comes to the leader in combat. The thing that you've got to remember as well is I'm assuming Jason's going to bring his Allegiance terrain piece, which is going to allow him to, should those units of 20 Stabbers die, on a 4+, he can bring it back to a half-strength unit. So, you could Hand of Gork a unit of 20 up the board, claim an objective, they die, they come back as a unit of 10, then fling them up the board again. So, potentially a really interesting strategy and potentially could have a lot of fun. And the Scuttle Tide, which is my personal favorite endless spell, is allow you to drop down essentially a wall, but it happens next to a terrain piece, within 1 inch of a terrain piece, and it does damage if you end a move or a charge, I think, within 6 of it. So it's a nice little way to get to a backboard or potentially hit something that you really need to do damage with, maybe whether it's a catapult, whether it's a hero sitting behind the scenes. I really like it, and I think these rock guts could be hard to take down.
Yeah, so many wounds.
That's it, and obviously, and the trolls can regenerate as well. So, and there are plenty of ways to bring those wounds back. So, good call, Jason. Anything else we want to add to this?
No.
Clint?
No.
Cool.
I shook my head.
Well, I'm not looking at you. I'm trying to look at lists.
You're not pretty enough, Frank.
Should always be looking at me.
Actually, you're not even on my screen. All right, let's do. You're actually not. Like, you're hidden behind a whole wall of documents. The next coming in, and one of our friends coming over the ditch from New Zealand. So one of the two from the Notorious podcast. So check them out. This is Sean Tubman, who's bringing the Gloomspite Gitz. What is he bringing? He's bringing a very spider-based Gloomspite Git list.
No, I think what you'll find he's bringing an endless spell list with some stuff to put around them.
He's got some. No, sorry, it's the other one that's the spider list. I'm thinking
not
another one.
This isn't the spider list. No,
Well,
this is lots of bodies, and then a bunch of casters, so he can go choo 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 choo.
No, it's
and
Josh.
just fire endless spells out. Yeah, no, the spiders later.
Rewind. It's Josh. Sorry, I saw the web spinner shaman first. Jeez. All right. So what have we got? This is an endless spell list. What do we got?
One job, Anthony.
Sorry. So what have we got? We have the web spinner shaman on a Ragnarok spider. He's walking around with the ethereal amulet and is taking a spider fang spell called Sneaky Distraction. That's the -1 to hit. You've got a web spinner shaman, which has the gift of the spider god. You have Scragrot the Loon King, which is the general, and he has the hand of Gork. He has a fungoid cave shaman with the great green spite, which is a damage dealing spell. He has a unit of 40 shooters, 20 shooters, 6 rock gut Troggoths, and he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 endless spells, which is the Aether Void Pendulum, the Balewind Vortex, Chronomatic Cogs, Geminids, Quicksilver Swords, the Cauldron, and then finally the Scuttle Tide, coming in at a neat 2,000 points. This is very much an endless spell list, being blocked by a wall of 120 grots.
That's what I said it was, man. Like, it's endless spells with some bodies to put around them and protect your stuff. That's what it is.
Also, Tubbs has been playing Gloomspite for a while now. And I think this is a very different list to what he usually was running, but I think this is super good. Like, the fact that he went for shooters instead of stabbers was interesting, because most people go to stabbers. So I think he is very much going to be holding back quite a bit and just going for the range threat. So yeah, I think this is good. He's actually a New Zealand master level player, as we would like to say. So he's one to look out for as well. And I do rate it. I think it's a cool list as well.
Yeah, he's certainly someone that's done well in the New Zealand scene, and looking at the New Zealand contingent, they're coming in, and there's some quite strong lists coming from our friends across the ditch. Maybe they're looking for residency, I'm not sure, but they are coming in with some very good lists.
Yep. Cool. What's the next one? Is the next one actually the spider list?
Okay, we can go to the spider list. Jeez, I make one slip up and
the spider list by the Joshster.
No, that's
wrong Josh.
Josh Foster.
Yeah.
Who?
Yeah.
It's the
in a long line of Josh bringing ridiculous armies to CanCon. So Josh 2 years ago brought Warherd before they were really a thing. So that was pretty awesome. And then this year he is definitely doing the same thing again. Look at all those spiders, all those battalions. Like,
where
I was
are the spiders? But Dalton's having a whinge. Like, where are the spiders? Well, here they are. He's got five spider riders, 5 spider riders, 5 spider riders, 5 spider riders, 5 spider riders. No, I haven't got a stutter. There is 25 spider riders coming on top of the Scuttle boss on Giant Spider. We have a Web Spinner Shaman on a Ragnarok. We have a Web Spinner Shaman on an Ragnarok. One has the headdress of many eyes and the sneaky distraction, while the other is walking around with the Grith Feather Charm and the Gift of the Spider God. We also have an Arachnarok Spider with a Flinger and a Ragnarok Spider with the Spider Fang War Party. On top of that, he has a Cauldron, which has spider legs. He has, he does, and the Scuttle Tide, which is the Wall of Spiders. And they're all neatly packaged up in 3 battalions, potentially one of the few lists with,
Yeah, I think the two of the little ones fit in one of the big ones. So, yeah. And then, obviously, the Cauldron gives his spider wizards access to the Moon Clan spells, I believe.
The Moon Clan spells. So he'll be able to do the
he
fight
can just
last,
cast whatever.
He can teleport. He can do there's the fight last. There's a couple of spells you might tap into.
Yeah. It's awesome. So
why do we
I'm
like
very
this?
pleased.
Is it just cool, or why else do we like this?
It's cool.
It's just cool.
It's a 1-drop. We don't see 1-drop armies anymore. It's a 1-drop spider army. He's gonna decide who's gonna go first, and he's just gonna be like, "Cool, come at my spiders, and they'll come at you later." Like, it's cool. Like, I just when I saw this list, I just laughed and I thought this was awesome. Also,
shout out to Ash McEwen, who's freaking out, saying he's having flashbacks to last year when a spider rider jumped on his back at a barbecue. So nightmares for days. But very cool list, very interesting list. Obviously, spiders are going to cause a few people the nightmares. He's got a whole bunch of additional stacks that are going to really do a whole bunch of mortal wounds on the charge and in combat. So.
If he rolls off tap, it's going to cause so many mortal wounds. It's ridiculous. So
but he's got a whole bunch of stacks where he's going to be able to bring that number down to, I think, a 5 or a 4. He's going to be able to do double damage on some of those. So there's a whole bunch of little sneaky ways that he's going to do a whole bunch of mortal wounds.
Yeah. Cool. Have we got people are yelling at us. We need to go to the ogre lists now. Are we?
You want to do ogres?
Yeah.
Well, we could do bone splitters, or we could do ogres. Should we make them wait?
The more they ask, the more I just don't want to do it.
No.
Let's do bone splitters first. Let's do bone splitters first. Like and subscribe if you want me to actually do the ogres. But let's talk about the bone splitters. This could be an interesting one, especially because Drakfoot is going to cause a few people headaches, especially me with my Phoenix Guard. So the bone splitters are bringing. We've got a Wargog Prophet, which has got a whole bunch of cool stuff like Fireball. It's got the Savage, the Brutal Beast Spirits. We've got a Savage War Boss with the Burning Tattoos. We have the Manic Weird Knob, which has the Cunning Beast Spirits and Fireball. So we've got a triple up Fireball. We've got 3 people with Fireball, and then we've got a Warg Dog with the Breath of Gorkamorka and Fireball. So a whole bunch of Fireballs coming at you. We've got 20 Savage Oryx. We've got 20 Savage Oryx with Arrow Boys, and then we have allied 6 Rockgut Troggoths. Not only is that, we've also got the Rogue Idol. That's all nicely packaged up with a Cunning Rock with a total of 2,000 points. Now, Cunning Rock isn't as powerful as it used to be. Should people still fear the Bone Splitters?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because he's got a Rogue Idol. That's why.
Rogue Idols are pretty cool. They are a Forge World model. Why do we fear them, Liam?
Well, Drakfoot screws your after save, so poor Ethereal also ignores Ethereal, not Ethereal Amulet. That's the key thing. So all the Ethereal Amulet heroes, they're okay, but these guys ignore like Nighthorn and stuff. Cutting Rock, some extra shooting. I think it's still like, you get to shoot in the hero phase, whatever. It's still good. It's just chip damage. Like, they're just chipping away. It's still a good list. It just reminds me of what Bone Splitters was 2 years ago, in my opinion. The Troggoths are an interesting choice for allies, but I think they're just going to be holding on objectives because they can regenerate and do some damage as well. So, yeah.
All right.
That's it, really.
Sounds good. I like it. The chat's revolting against me. People want me out of my own show, so I'm going to quickly pivot to the 2 ogre lists we're going to pull out. One is Hayden Walker. Let's call out the Mr. Fit himself.
Pandering to the masses. I like it.
Pandering to the masses. I'm sure the Patreon dollars are going to roll in any minute and I can retire and be a hashtag content creator. But someone who needs no introduction is the Elf Bro himself, who's clearly not going elves. He is going potentially the lowest drop list in the entire of CanCon. I don't think anyone's going in with any less models than Hayden Walker, who's walking around with the Ogre tribes. He is going with Blood Gullet, and he's coming from Gairan. What does he bring to the table? We have a Frostlord on Stonehorn, which is the general, the trait with the nice drop of the red stuff. We have the artifact of the Splatter Cleaver and the mount trait of the Black Clatterhorn. We have a Huskard on Thunder Tusk with the Blood Vulture and the Prayer of Keening Gale. We have a Huskard on Thunder Tusk with the Blood Vulture and the Pulverizing Hailstorm, which basically what happened to me when I lost electricity for 3 hours. We have Stonehorn Beast Riders, Stonehorn Beast Riders, Stonehorn Beast Riders, filling out his battle line, coming at a total of 1980. He has 73 wounds. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 models in total. Holy shite, 6 models. This is super easy to bring to a tournament. He is going to have fun. What do we think of this?
He's going to have fun and wreck people's face. That's what's going to happen.
Why? Why is it going to wreck people's face? It's only 6 models.
But they count. You're forgetting one thing. They count as 10. They count as 10 models each.
Okay.
So that 6 models there actually count as 60 models. So, and they do quite a bit of damage. So he's literally, if someone just has like a chaff line of like 10 models, just comes in, takes them out, boom, grab the objective. It's going to do well.
Yeah.
He's actually going to do really well. So yeah.
Clint, anything you want to add to this other than the furious typing that to your friends to say hashtag follow the coach and join Patreon?
No, I do apologize for the typing. I've just been made aware of a list error, so I'm just chasing that up for someone. So,
should we call them out here? How dare you bring incorrect list?
No. That's on me. There's 230 odd lists. I was bound to miss something. So this army is going to be interesting. He's going to play quickly. You know, it'll either go really well for him or really badly very quickly, and then he can piss off and go to the shops and buy cool swag while he's down there. He's also been working on this army. It's all converted as well. So we need to call that out. So I think people will enjoy playing it. Because it's something a little bit different. It's not all hairy beasts. So,
yeah,
that's all I'll say.
And look, there's a lot of healing. There's going to be a lot of cool stuff. He's got some ranged threats coming from the Huskard on Thunder Tusk with those Blood Vultures. He's going to do a whole bunch of damage, doing mortal wounds on the charge. There's going to be a whole bunch of additional stacks and some cool things that Hayden's going to do. He is not going to be going to probably till the full 5 rounds. He is going to smash you in the face. He's going to have fun. And I think I would certainly be happy to play this list.
Also, he's such a gentle player, so even if you're getting smash face, he's still going to have a good time because he's a good player. Oh.
Someone who isn't a good player, and I'm probably going to lose to, is my round 1 grudge. So I'll be playing against Seth Cook. I actually don't dislike Grudge. I actually really like Seth. That's a joke. Please don't attack him, or don't, or my raving fans are going to attack poor Seth. But Seth is an awesome dude. He is my round 1 matchup. I'll be playing against him in a grudge, which is more of a play date. What is going to be happening? He is going to be bringing the Ogre tribes. Similar but very different list. I think it's certainly a very strong build, probably one to watch out for, a bit of a dark horse. He is bringing a Frost Lord on Stonehorn with the Ethereal Amulet and the Metal Cruncher. We've got a Frost Lord on Stonehorn with the Brandisfard and the Black Clatterhorn. We have a Frost Lord on Stonehorn with the Belligerent Charger. We have an Icebrow Hunter, which is the general on the Lord of Beasts. We have 2 units of Frost Sabers. We have a 12 Ogre Gluttons, and we have 2 Lead Belchers. We have the Skull Battalion coming in at 1980. Holy shite. Am I going to get my poo pushed in round 1?
Do you want the honest answer or what?
Be honest. Be honest. I mean, you're a very humble person. You're very well thought out with your opinion. So please tell me.
I don't think your Phoenix Guard are going to last long.
Okay. Why is that? Tell the masses why.
First things first, you're going to take D6 mortal wounds from the Metal Cruncher. And then the Frostlord and Stonehorns, both of them are probably going to do some serious damage. Especially the I rate this list. The one thing I don't rate is having 3 Frostlord on Stonehorns. I think you should change one of them to a Thunder Tusk. I mean, Huskar on Thunder Tusk, but that's just me. Lead Belchers could have easily been another command point. A unit of 2 is not worth it. But yeah, I think if you can take out at least 1 or 2 of those Frostlords, you're good. And if you can still have most of your army intact. And if you don't forget about your Shadow Warriors, I think you're good. Yeah.
Clint, anything you do want to add?
I think you two are going to have a very fun game.
Fun play day.
We're going to have a great game. I have a strategy of survival, not a strategy of victory. I'm looking forward to seeing how Seth and I battle on the tabletop. Should be a good one. But I think this is definitely going to be a list that people may struggle to have answers to. If you have 3 charging Stonehorns coming at your line, can you handle the amount of damage? The Icebrow Hunter is going to be able to take a unit and in a sideboard with those potential Frost Sabers. I think is it the Ogre Gluttons that ignore spells and endless spells on a 4+, or is it the Lead Belcher? But
that's
there's
the Iron Guts.
The Iron Guts I'm thinking of. Sorry, someone else has got that. But I think he has a whole bunch of tools that could be fun.
Yeah.
The second last destruction list we'll talk about is someone who probably needs no introduction because he tells everyone in every opportunity that he won CanCon 2 years ago, and he's back. Adam Burt, he's going to be running the Ogre Blood Gullet. He's got the Frostlord on Stonehorn, the Icebrow Hunter, the Slaughter Master, the Butcher, 12 Ogre Gluttons, 6 Ogre Gluttons, 4 Iron Guts, 6 Frost Sabers at 2,000 points. So this is a bit of a blend between the what was formerly the Dad Bods, the Gutbusters, and the Beast Claw Raiders coming in together with a nice little mix. Do we think Adam Burt can win CanCon again?
I don't think this is the list to win CanCon, but I think he will have fun with this because once upon a time, the very first CanCon, Adam brought destruction with ogres and a bunch of yetis and stuff like that. So it's very much in his regular wheelhouse to play with these guys. So I think he'll be competent with them and sort of have lots of fun around the middle tables, which I think is actually his aim this year. I don't think he's trying for another CanCon win. I think he's just going to turn up, have some fun around the middle tables. I believe he has he and Tubbs have a grudge. Sean Tubman from New Zealand. So that will be a very interesting game. Tubbs is going for the hat trick of Heralds. He's beaten myself. He's beaten Travis. He just wants to beat Adam now to complete his set.
Yeah. I don't think this is going to be winning it, but I think he's going to have heaps of fun. It's got heaps of different tools and stuff. He's got a big beastie. He's got a big blob of units to do some damage. He's here for some fun.
Yeah. Well, we've got the Hayden Walker build, which is very much down one route and certainly very strong in that. This is certainly more of a utility list. So lots of tools in this. I like it, obviously, but this is the reason why we've chosen it. Well done to you. And then the final destruction list that we'll talk about is going to be Fraser from New Zealand. He is running Blood Gullet as well, and it's a bit of a mix as well. So this is probably going down more of the Gutbuster builds with the Tyrant walking around with it as a general, with a nice drop of the red stuff, the Splatter Cleaver artifact, and the Fate Seeker big name. He has a Slaughter Master with the Shrunken Priest Head, the Rib Cracker, and the Blood Feast spells. We have a Butcher with the Rib Cracker and the Greasy Deluge. We have 4 Iron Guts, 12 Gluttons, 4 Lead Belchers, 4 Lead Belchers, 2 Lead Belchers under a wonderful battalion.
Yeah.
Dad Bods?
It's very much a Gutbusters list, isn't it?
This is very much
yeah.
Is there any Beast Claw Raiders in there?
There's no Beast Claw Raiders. It's very much looking like he went and grabbed a few of the Beasts of Bones box, but it's got heaps of wounds. If anyone else is looking, it's 174 wounds for people to churn through. Also, the Slaughtermaster double dipping, it's kind of strong for some healing or whatever he, I think, can do. It's good. Yeah, I see how he goes. I think you need beasties and ogres, to be honest, to do well. That's just my opinion. But he has so many wounds. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So many.
175 is one of the higher ones. We know that the average wounds around that 120 to 130 route, so could be hard to take down. So Fraser, good luck. Would be a lot of fun with this one, but the 2 units of 12 gluttons will be really hard to take down. Really hard.
Yeah.
We'll go death next.
Why not?
Yep.
All right. So let's start with probably the best sub-allegiance within death, which is going to be Stu. So Stu West is coming all the way from, was he one of our Scottish friends?
He's coming from Orkney, yep.
Orkney, coming from Orkney, so traveling along, and he's bringing the best faction to play with. That is the Legion of Night, and it is led by the one, the only, the best Manfred von Carstein, which is the general coming with pinions. We have Neferata coming in supporting and Arkan supporting, as you'd expect with Manfred as your general. We have the Can Wraith coming along as well. We have 40 skeleton warriors, 10 skeleton warriors, 5 dire wolves, 4 Morghasts with their 3d6 charge, and coming in with an extra command point. Do we like this? Is this going to win CanCon with Manfred in there? I think there's a very good possibility that he could win CanCon. Clint, you probably agree, right?
Let's not take the piss, shall we? It's not going to win CanCon, I don't believe. I can't see what you've got there. Liam, I'm sure it's something like Liam really loves Manfred or something like that.
Yeah, Liam loves Manfred is what I can see.
Yep, definitely. Basically, Stu sent me this list and said, I've submitted it. It's got all the Mortarks in. Being led by Manfred, of course, I'm like, that's good, because otherwise I'd call Border Force and have him stopped from entering the country. So he's made the right choice there. Look, I think Stu's coming all this way to have a bit of fun, and he's played a lot of Legion of Night over in the UK, generally a bit more of the Zombie Dragon build and things like that. But I think he's going to come over here, have a bit of fun, probably die in the heat, unfortunately for him. So, yeah.
Look, we're feeding plenty of Tim Tams. I hope to celebrate with a lot of Iron Brew with him. Shout out to the Northern Invasion podcast, which is where he is from. Great podcast across the ditch. Well, everyone's across the ditch. We're on a little island. But
it's a bit further than across the ditch, Anthony.
Like a small plane trip, a little bit of sleeping tablets. It's basically the same distance. Liam, I know you're a big fan of Manfred.
He has Neferata. It's the best list ever.
I'm really enjoying... you can tell who listens to his podcast in the chat too, actually. Joel McGrath's quoting the song from the start, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, no, it is a good podcast. And I played Stu first up when I went to Bobo, so he's a great guy.
Now I'm having mind blanks of who sings that song. It's I know the song. Yeah. Anyway, please put in the chat who does. He's going the distance.
Cake.
Yeah, Cake. That's it. I was thinking of the Long Jacket. No, I don't know. I'm butchering my songs. Anyway, Stu West, nice list. I hope you win it, because then we can rub it in Liam's face for the eternity.
Now, what we got next?
We have Jesse Perkins next. So we've got 2 Flesh Eater Courts lists we're going to pull up. Jesse Perkins coming from Borderline Gaming.
Yes.
Yep. Thank you. He is running Flesh Eater Courts coming from Gur. He has a Archregent. He has the Ghoul King on Terrorgeist, a Ghoul King on Terrorgeist. He has a Cryptghast Courtier, 40 Crypt Ghouls, 10 Crypt Ghouls, 10 Crypt Ghouls, 3 Horrors under the King's Ghouls. You don't see much of the King's Ghouls. Curious to hear what it does.
That's okay. Jesse doesn't win many games, so
That's fair. I mean, he's a great DJ, maybe not a really good player, and he has the Chalice, the Endless Spell Chalice. So he's going to be healing up a whole bunch of those Royal Terror guys. Liam, you are a Feck man. What do you see when you look at this list?
This list is actually really, 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 really strong. There's heaps of summoning. He's going to be summoning more horrors and flayers, and maybe some more ghouls from the Archregent and the Terrorgeist and stuff. King's ghouls, they're actually immune to battle shock. So those 40 ghouls aren't running away. And then with the chalice and stuff, they're going to be coming back. So those 40 ghouls aren't going anywhere. So I wish everyone the best of luck. And if someone actually kills all those 40 ghouls, I will buy you a bottle of water to stay in the heat. Like, that will be your reward. But so come find me if you do it. But,
pretty sure CanCon's giving away free water with a water cooler, but shout out to Liam and his generosity here.
Yeah.
It's the gesture, not the thing.
You know what, Anthony? God, trying to like get people infused and killing 40 ghouls. But yeah, it's they're not going to die. I'm really sorry. If anyone's saying like, oh, I can kill 40 ghouls, you're not going to kill 40 ghouls.
Yeah, but I was joking before. It's a decent list. Jesse's a good guy. I was just,
Also, I'm pretty sure he won with this list last year at the Dweller event. But he's just recently had a kid, so I think hobby's been taken away from him. So I think he's just taking what he's got.
By the way, anyone who's watching this stream, we are talking in jest. We love Seth. We love Jesse. Anyone we're taking the mickey out of, it is just an Australian thing we do. If we're really nice about you, it probably means we don't like you. But in all seriousness, Jesse is an awesome dude. Please don't take anything we've said here too seriously. But it's a wonderful little list. And obviously, the 2 Royal Terrorgeist with the Chalice could be painful, and he's got that additional threat coming out from the ghouls. Going to a whole bunch of flooding the board. And Ash McEwen's already said that he can easily kill 40 ghouls. So let's see how that goes.
Free bottle of water.
Free bottle of water for the first person to kill the 40 ghouls. Come find Liam and myself. I want to see how that works. And by the way, I've just been told that Stu has an 85% win rate with his Legion of Night list. So pressure is on. The other Flesh Eater Courts list we'll look at is Joe Pagano coming over from Florida. He is one half of the Rage of Sigma podcast. Again, check them out. Subscribe, like, listen to them. Awesome podcast. What is he bringing? Something a little bit different. He's got the Archregent. He's got a Ghoul King on Royal Terrorgeist, a Ghoul King on Royal Zombie Dragon. Don't see Zombie Dragons very often, or at least with Ghoul Kings on them anyway. You have 30 Crypt Ghouls, 10 Crypt Ghouls, 10 Crypt Ghouls, an allied corpse cart, and then he's bringing the Ghoul Patrol Battalion with the Chalice Endless Spell. A little bit different. The Royal Zombie Dragon brings something a little bit different to the table. Again, you both being Death players, what do you see when you look at this list?
You see Zombie Dragons probably a little bit more than you're probably giving them credit. Yeah, and also Joe Pagano isn't from... he might have been from Florida originally, but that's not really...
He's from New York.
Yeah, he's from New York.
He tagged himself in the survey as Florida.
Okay. What else did he say? It was possibly all wrong. Because you're his favorite dweller, I heard. So, it's a good list. Once again, lots of ghouls, a couple of big monsters. I love Ghoul Patrol simply because you have to shout it as you use it. So you have to shout Ghoul Patrol out as you use it. It's in the rules. So
fair enough. Tristan Gray saying he's not going to make it to the tournament. I imagine it's because Randy, with his round 1, or Blandy, as he's known on Twitter, is going to crush his spirits and win the Intercontinental Championship of Age of Sigmar.
Yeah, I have a feeling. People, I'm pretty sure this is what's going to be on stream first up, so people get a chance to see this list in action.
And Randy will be playing with the Grand Alliance Death / Tomb King, so that'll be a wonderful battle if it's on stream.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Liam, anything you want to add to that?
Nah, it's pretty good. It's what you mainly see with FEC, these kind of lists.
All right. Well, I'll bring up the mayor himself, the Australian master right now. He is Matt Tyrrell. He has decided not to take the Ossiarch Bonereapers out for a spin. He is doing us all a favor by taking the Nighthaunt. In his Nighthaunt, he has a Guardian of Souls with the Nightmare Lantern. He has Kurdos. He has Lady Alinda. He has a Spirit Torment. He has 40 Chain Rasp Horde, 10 Grimghast Reapers, 9 Spirit Host, a Black Coach, a Mongol, and an additional command point. coming in at a nice 1990 with one additional command point, obviously from the purchase. So Matt is switching allegiances. He's always a death man, but he's coming into Nighthaunt. Has he got some secret list tech in this, or is he here for the lols?
He's here for a good time, but he will do well because 40 chain rasp horde are legit. I'm surprised about the Mongol. You don't see them much anymore. And you know he's here for a good time because he doesn't have a Deathblade Harrow, or whatever that thing is. But yeah, I think he's here for a good time because I don't know. What do you think, Clint? He's a good player. I'm not taking that away from him. He'll do well.
Yeah, I think he is just going to be here for, as cliche it is, I think he's here to have fun. I know that this has sort of pushed him to get some other extra models painted, like he was working on Kurdos and stuff like that recently. He doesn't have to do well because he's got a free pass to the next Masters. So he can just kind of take the foot off, come, have fun, and off he goes. So
I think this is also like his painting army. Like he wants to do well with the painting, and it looks really pretty. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like Coach was a wonderful painting model. The Mongol is definitely going to stand out. It's something you don't see very often on the table. It definitely doesn't go towards a traditional Nighthaunt, which is the flooding of Chain Rasp, Greengrass Reapers, a lot of MSU style heroes kind of supporting all these big hordes. So a very interesting build of the Nighthaunt.
Mm-hmm.
Where I think most of your Nighthaunt players have moved to is your Legion of Grief. And for this particular discussion, by the way, we finish with Matt?
Yeah.
Awesome. We will bring up 3 different lists when it comes to the Legion of Grief, which is certainly where I think a lot of players have kind of moved towards from that Nighthaunt, or maybe the Legion of Nagash kind of moving into this particular build. The first one is Aiden. Aiden's coming over from New Zealand. I'm told that he is the New Zealand equivalent of Liam, so I can't wait to meet Aiden. True story, I heard that today.
Wow, that's harsh on Aiden. That's so harsh on Aiden.
I didn't say that. I'm sure he's a wonderful bloke. What has he got? He is the Dreadblade Harrow, which is the general. We have the Knight of Shrouds. We have the Knight of Shrouds on a ethereal steed. We have a Necromancer. We have 40 Chain Rasp, 40 Chain Rasp, 10 Chain Rasp, 30 Grimghast Reapers. And then something that I like seeing more often is the 12 Myanmar Banshees, and then another unit of 12 Myanmar Banshees. Finally, wrapping it all up with an additional command point.
So what he does is he takes his army and he deploys it on the table, and there's no room for the opponent to put their models down, and then he wins. He has so many models, and I think he put up a picture earlier today of all his models, and he couldn't quite fit them into the frame because of just how many more bodies he has. So he has played Grief pretty much since it came out. Yeah, he's played it for a while.
This was keep going.
He took it to their New Zealand Masters. He's taken it to a bunch of other events, so I think he's quite well practiced with it and should do quite well.
Yeah, this was a quick this is like his way of proving that he can get an army done in a weekend. He painted this army, I think, in like 4 days. He just wanted to prove a point of how easy it was. And he's well practiced, as Clint said. And I think he did quite well at the Masters.
Yeah. Okay. I was just about to MB in the chat has asked why the Harrow, but then Michael Pennis answered him. Basically, you can use him for moving. Yeah, you can use the Harrow to move units around the table really easily, and it just gives you incredible flexibility. Just ask Ash. Ash used to use them to great effect when he was running Nighthaunt. So, yep.
And we've got the Eighth of Quartz Brooch sitting in there to regenerate those additional command points, which we know Legion of Grief are going to want to start bringing back their dead from the gravesite. So if you can take down those 40 Chain Rasps or those 30 Grimghast Reapers for that additional command point, that Dreadblade Harrow is going to be bringing back a unit. So very, very, very potent. However, this is not the only Dreadblade Harrow that's coming. If we look at Keith is another player coming around. We have Keith Williamson, Creaky Gamers on YouTube. Shout out, go check him out. Doing really cool, fun battle reps. But he's also running Legion of Grief. And in a very similar vein, he has the Dreadblade Harrow as the general. Same command trait, which is the Vassal of the Craven King. We have a Necromancer, same spell, the Dread Withering. We have the Guardian of Souls on a Nightmare with the Nightmare Lantern. And we also have a Knight of Shrouds on the Ethereal Steed. Also with the Eighth Quartz Brooch. We have a Spirit Torment, 40 Chain Wrath, 5 Dire Wolves, 20 Blade Ghast, 20 Blade Geist, 2 Chain Ghast, Chain Hearts, and then additional command point. I'm losing my voice. I played against this list 2 weeks ago, and boy, oh boy, does he flood the board with models, and is it a pain in the ass that they've got high movement and he can bring them up with that extra command point. What are we thoughts there?
Yeah. It's been pointed out in the chat that the Dreadblade can't move units in Grief, but he can teleport and bring stuff back. So, yeah, I misspoke on that.
So in Nighthorn he can, in Grief he can't?
Yeah, because it's a Nighthorn command ability, yeah.
Good call. Thanks,
yeah.
Thanks Ash.
And Matt, the mayor. Yeah.
As well.
Yep. So Keith's list, onto Keith's list. Once again, a ton of bodies, and you definitely can't go wrong with Blade Geist Revenants. They are awesome, and he has quite a lot of them. So I think they're going to be doing a bit of his damage there. He's got the Necromancer in there because why would you not? Yeah, it's an awesome list. He did very well last year with I think Legions of Nagash. I think he had Legion of Night. So it'd be interesting to see how well Keith does this year.
He's traditionally a death player. He did really well with Gitz at Sydney Slaughter as well. So he is a very talented player, but he is very much Von Keith as he's known on the YouTubes, but definitely knows his death inside and out.
You see him pop up in all the groups playing all the different things. I think he was in the Beasts group the other night talking about Beast lists. So he's definitely across all the stuff, which can only help as a player, I think. Yep.
Liam, anything you want to add to this?
Blade Geist Revenants are awesome.
They are.
That's all I can say.
Yep.
They're legit.
And if I remember correctly, playing against Keith, every time he spent a command point, he had an opportunity to get back. He had 2 chances to get an additional command point back. So that was pretty crazy because there's always just CP farming, and it was just a nightmare to take him down. And you take down the 40 chain rasps, and you cheer for a second, and you just bring them back. And with that high movement, they'd be back in your face in no time. So certainly one to watch, Keith.
Yeah.
Final Legion of Grief, and I wanted to call this one out because it's a little bit different as well. I think Legion of Grief will do well at CanCon. It has has the right tools. So why do I like this list, and why do we want to call this one out? So it has Lady Alinda, it has Neferata, it has a Necromancer, it has a Tomb Banshee, and it has Kurdos, which I think is fascinating. We've also got 10 Chain Rasps, 5 Dire Wolves, 5 Dire Wolves, 5 Black Knights, 1 Corpse Cart, 12 Mirmon Banshees, and a Black Coach, and 3 Endless Spells, the Emerald Life Swarm, the Geminids, and please pronounce that one to me,
Mortalius Termin Nexus.
Yeah, we both butchered it. An additional command. We both butchered that. And an additional command point coming in at 2,000 points on the dot. Very hero heavy, not as much bodies as some of the other Nighthaunt / Legion of Grief lists. Clint, as a death man, what do you see when you look at this?
It's a very interesting collection of things, and I don't know Richard well enough. Richard is from Geelong. I think he's part of Throw the Dice. I've not actually met him, and I'm not sort of aware of what sort of player he is. But he's just got a very interesting mix of stuff there. I don't think I've seen Neferata in a grief list yet, but yeah, I think he's still painting up. Yeah, and quite a few endless spells, which is interesting for the grief lists. So I really don't know how this list will do. But it should look quite cool though, because he's got lots of big cool models, and that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Lots of cool heroes. Liam, anything you'd add to that?
I think with Legion of Grief, you need bodies, and he doesn't have bodies. Like, yeah, because you're not using the grave sites as well enough. You'll be spending a lot of your points bringing back stuff. So, yeah, that's just my opinion.
Look, a lot of summonable units there, but probably not as many. You're not flooding the board as some of the other lists we've seen.
But that's how some of these legions work and death work. You need the big blobs, so when they do die, you bring them all back instead of wasting CP every turn to bring back about a 10 unit. So yeah,
for sure. I don't disagree with you on that one. So very cool. The last two lists we're going to look at in depth will be the heroes of the month. That is the Ossiarch Bonereapers. The first one is not this Josh, but it is another Josh Carroll. Josh Carroll is taking one of the 18 Ossiarch Bonereaper Petrifex elites. And Liam, you know what? You can read this one out because I think this one is a man to your heart.
Yeah, so this guy is awesome. Josh, come find me. I'll find you, and I'm going to high-five you because this is an awesome list.
And a free bottle of water.
And a free bottle of water. Screw it. Free bottle of water for you as well. He's taking the Petrifex elite. He's got a Liege Cavalos, who's a general who is got 9 wounds because of his trait, and he's ignoring the first damage of every phase. And he has Nagash, and he has 5 Death Riders, and 15 Death Riders, not running the Cavalos Battalion, which I don't think he can fit at all, but oh well. And he's got a Bone-type Shrieker and an Emerald Life Swarm. So these things are coming back for sure. Like, he's healing so much from this.
The Death Riders.
Yeah, Death Riders, there are so many wounds. They're 3 wound each model. So that 15-man unit is going to be tough to like kill. And with the Life Swarm following them around and Nagash healing them, they're going to go through. Yeah, it's an awesome list. It's super fast. If anyone doesn't know how Bonereapers work, they do have a command ability that they can all use, and it spends 1 point of their like discipline points, and they can get +3 move. So those Death Riders can pretty much all move 15. So yeah, I like this list because there's no Mortec. He has less Mortec than me because I think I am the one with running the less Mortec. But this guy's running an awesome list, and I think, in my opinion, this would have been a better list in something like Staliarch Lords. But that's just me. So yeah. But it's cool. I love it. So much respect.
And breaking news from the Azir Weekly is that the studies have shown Petrifex Elite actually most common of Nagash's legions. Catacross has been approached for comment. So go check out the Azir Weekly. It's a wonderful publication on Facebook. The head journalist, Jonathan, is an amazing dude. One of my personal favorite community articles out there on the entire interwebs. Clint, you were going to say about Josh's list.
It would be much cooler if it was in Staliarch, but it's in Petrifex. It does lose points from me because it's a Staliarch list, not in Staliarch. But anyway,
in Petrifex, yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Nagash has a 2+ armor save under Petrifex.
Yeah.
So he's an 8 spell because we get access to the realm. He's an 8 spellcaster, 2+ armor save.
Rerolling ones to save. Yeah.
Shrugging, and he's going to be a nightmare to take off the table. Do you ignore him? Do you go for him and try to take him down? That's going to be up to our opponents.
If you can shoot Nagash and do something about it, go for it, because then you can deal with the rest. That Liege, though, is going to be the bigger problem because that thing is going to be raking up heat. It's raking up 2 discipline points a turn for them, which he doesn't. The thing is that he's not generating heaps of points because he doesn't have enough heroes. So it was going to be interesting to see how he plays with it. But I think I love this list. Is
Nagash a trap? Like if I'm attacking Nagash, is that what my opponent? And I'm not talking about Josh. I'm talking about the general opponent. They want me to attack Nagash because that's allowing their Liege Cavalos to generate those discipline points and enable those Death Riders.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nagash as distraction Carnifex is probably the first time I've ever heard that, but it's probably right. Nagash can't capture objectives as many bodies, but yeah.
But he's almost 1/2 of your army. Do you ignore him? Do you accept it? Do you try to take him down? I think depends on the scenario and what you're thinking about.
What tools do you have available?
That's it. Obviously, my army, I'm looking at spellcasting, but I'm going up against a very strong spellcaster, which leads me to Michael Thompson, who has a similar list, but instead of going with the Death Riders, he is going down the Mortek Guard. So he's bringing to the table 60 Mortek Guard to complement the Liege and Nagash, as well as having the Purple Sun, the Nightmare Predator, and the Shrieker Endless Spell.
So by similar list, you mean not at all the same?
Well, we've got Nagash, we've got the Liege Cavalos, we've got there's a lot. The start of it is similar.
It's got two characters in it that are the same, yeah, but it's a very different list.
Worth half the army.
Yeah, based on points distribution, it's very similar, but the whole point of the list is completely different. It's just got so many bottles, and I hope to God that Michael has painted his damn base rooms, because if he hasn't, I'm coming for him. But no, Michael has played Death forever. He came third last year with the Nagash and Grimghast list that he'd been running for quite some time. And so it didn't surprise me at all that he'd picked up Bonereapers to add into his Death. I think he's got tons of Mortek Guard, so he's just going to bog his opponents down in bodies that aren't going to die very well. And he's got some awesome little spells in there that he can be throwing around. Yeah, and he's a top bloke as well, an absolute top bloke.
Except when he attacks my free guild guard with not Hand of Dust, Curse of Years. He's not a cool person then.
That makes him cooler. It just makes him a member of an elite club to Curse of Years, your free guild guard. Right. He and I. So
you're both really cool. Speaking of people who are cool, we have Sam O'Neill, who, my gosh, do I wet the bed when I look at this list. It's the Ossiarch Bonereapers under Petrifex, Surprise Sentry. But what do we got? We've got the Liege Cavalos, we have the Soul Mason, we have Arcan the Black, we have 20 Mortek. What keeps me wetting the bed every night is those two Mortek Crawlers, those big, fat catapults. And then you've got the Mortek Shield Corp as a battalion. So that wraps up with 2,000 points. Liam, I know you're a big fan of the catapults. When you see this, what are you thinking? Am I fearing the Reaper, or am I?
This is the strongest list out of all the Ossiarch Bonereaper lists. This is the strongest list. This is by far the most stupidest, strongest list. Because the one thing that he has actually messed up on is that the Godbone armor needs to go to the Liege. And the Soul Mason needs to get given the +1 to wound artifact 9-inch bubble, because wounding on 4s, like, it's all cool and great that you're generating new attacks on 5 and 6s, but you're going to lose half of them on the wound rolls because all Mortek wound on 4s. So +1 to wound makes them so much better. But that's the only thing I would change in this list. But this list is damn freaking strong, because he's saving points thanks to the Shield Corps.
Yeah.
So pretty much he's generating 2, 3, 4, 5 points, and then he gets one. He's pretty much using one for free. Arcane Command for an extra D3. He's going to be using in heaps because all this Mortek are going to reroll saves, and all those catapults are getting +1 attack. And also he's going to use some of his points to increase the rem by 1 with the Mortek Shield, Mortek Guard.
And if you have an experienced catapult, they do damage. They do significant damage. Liam, I know you're averaging what 20 kind of wounds a crawler.
In Petrifex, I'm averaging 20 damage, and in the Mortis Praetorians, I'm averaging 35 damage. So yeah, it's not they're strong. They're better in Mortis Praetorians, but Petrifex +1 save, it's so good. But yeah. For Super Keener, the artifact is only +1 to hit, so they're hitting on 2s. But it's all great and all hitting on 2s, generating new attacks on 5 and 6s, but you're going to lose half of them on the wound roll, and that's just wasting potential damage. So, yeah, I think it should have been the +1 wound artifact, but yeah. Hopefully Sam does well. This is by far the strongest Bonereaper list. So, yeah.
It's definitely one to watch out for, and I think there's some Twitter bets going on at the moment if Sam wins CanCon. So I think people are meant to step out of his way if you face Sam, but Even if you were to lose, I think it's a very, very, very tough list, nonetheless.
What I will say about this is what it's been really good to see is that this list has gotten Sam to paint stuff. So Sam sort of lapsed out of the hobby for a little bit there. He'd come to 2 CanCons and then he helped last year because I don't think he was quite feeling the hobby. But this has come out and he's been flat strap on this army, just working on it, making it as good as he can, and I think that's quite cool. So it's good that he's found that in the list. And yes, if Sam O'Neill wins CanCon, I have to eat a plastic model. That was the bet that I copped to. But if I find out people are throwing games, then obviously that bet's off.
Let's talk Chaos. Let's go to the very first one of 10 Chaos, and the first one we're going to look at is Slaanesh. So Kieran is a Slaanesh fiend. He's been playing this list for some time now, or been playing a version of his Slaanesh. He is running a Keeper of Secrets, Selesky, the Contorted Epitome, the Chaos Lord, the Exalted Hero of Chaos. We've got 3 units of 5 Hellstriders with the Hell Scourges. We've got 3 Soul Grinders, and then the Demon Steed contingent at 2,000 points. Holy shite! I love a good Slaanesh list. Super curious to see what a Soul Grinder does within Slaanesh. I've played against Soul Grinders in the past, and it's a really nice buff here to the Soul Grinders, but not under Slaanesh.
Yeah, these Soul Grinders are getting +1 to hit and stuff in this army. The Battalion gives them straight +1 to hit.
+1 attack and +1 to saves?
No, +1 to hit. That's it. They're just combating.
I had to find it to check it, but I don't remember what the Battalion actually did. I have never heard of this, and it's in none of the books, but it's from the Celestin host.
He also generates a whole bunch of additional command points depending on his the evenness. I think it's a whole bunch of stuff like the mortals.
Evenness of mortals versus demons. What you're going to be seeing here is that Chaos Lord's command ability lets the Soul Grinders pile in twice. So those guys, this list is all based on the Soul Grinders. The thing is that he's not generating any summoning points really, unless you're hitting the heroes where they're getting double the amount of points if they're near Celeste. It's a really strong list. It's very different, and it's really cool. I rate it. I think it's cool. Yeah. Yeah,
it's very different.
Yeah, he can also run and shoot as well. What's that? +1 hit for attacks and it is +1 save.
Wow, you got to be right sometimes, Anthony.
Yeah, Broken Watch is correct twice a day.
Righto. What's the next one?
Cool. We like Kieran's, but we know he's not going to generate as much depravity as he was going with a whole bunch of Keeper of Secrets. But it's great to see a variety of Slaanesh models. Someone that I'm really excited to talk about is Ken. Ken, who's coming down from Northern New South Wales, an absolute legend, and he is running the Beasts of Chaos under the Dark Walkers. He's running a Doom Bull, a Beast Lord, unit of 6 Bulgors, unit of 6 Bulgors, unit of 6 Bulgors, unit of 3 Bulgors, 5 Centigors, 5 Centigors. So 4 units of 5 Centigors. And something I'm really excited about is 2 Gorgons under the Brass Despoilers. That comes in at 2,000 points with 1 command. I love a good Beast of Chaos list. Not enough on the table. Although I am disappointed there's no Cockatrice in this list.
There's no room for the Cockatrice in the Battalion because this all fits in that Brass Spoilers Battalion, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. So that should all fit in the Battalion, so he's a 1-drop. This is also the first list we got in for CanCon. Ken was the first to send his list in, and because I'm looking at Beasts at the moment for my post CanCon project, I was super excited. I've shouted out this list on something else that I've recorded with Priority Roll earlier in the week. So I got asked to pick one list, and this was it because it made me the most excited. So I love it. Dark Walkers, all those Bulgors. It's going to be good. I think possibly the only issue is that he doesn't have, and because he's used up all his points, he doesn't have enough Doom Balls to keep all of the Bulgur units going. I think because the way that their auras work to help those Bulgur units, he's going to either have to be super cagey with all the units or just let some of them do their own thing. So,
Yeah.
But it's still a cool list. He's got Centaurs in there to just run round because they're his fast units. And Gorgons aren't bad now for that sort of prowess.
I don't care what you say. You start with cockatrices, then you build around it. But Liam, what are your thoughts when you look at this? And by the way, Ken's in the chat. Shout out to Ken. Thanks for dropping by. Sweet list.
I picked this list because Bulgors. You don't see them much. I think it's just cool. And again, this has got such a high wound count. 165 wounds. There's so many wounds to go through. So yeah, I rate it. I think it's cool. Can't wait to see it on the table.
And I think because you're not seeing many Beasts of Chaos armies, I think some people are not going to know how to handle this. They're not going to have seen this before. And some of these things are going to surprise people. So whole heap of additional wounds. You know, they're going to hit like a truck. Go Ken.
Yep. And then the Centaurs are just going to go in. They're gonna imbibe, and they're going to hit their stuff better. But stuff's also going to hit them better, and that's just a cool rule. It's like, yeah.
What's not like about that? We'll talk
Exactly.
about two Skaventide lists. The first one is Alex from Lords of Ruin, I believe. I'm pretty sure he is my clubmate. I should probably not question that.
You should probably know who he is then.
Come on, man. We're talking lists. So what have we got here? We've got the Grey Seer and Screaming Bell. We have a Vermin Lord Warp Seer. We have an engine, a Warlock Engineer. We have 40 Clan Rats, 20 Clan Rats, 20 Clan Rats, 40 Plague Monks, 6 Storm Friends. We also have the Warp Lightning Vortex, a.k.a. the Rat Trap. So very much, I mean, Liam, you get to play with Dan Brewer a lot, who's very world renowned for his Skaven.
This list is kind of similar to Dan Brewer's good winning list at Saggy T when the book first came out. However, though, instead of 6 Storm Fiends, it was Giselles. But yeah, this guy has tools. 40 Clan Rats, great body blocking unit. 40 Plague Monks, hammer unit. Storm Fiends, going to shoot some stuff off. Yeah, I rate this. It's pretty much what you see with Skaventide. Some of the best stuff in it. And I think there is, and it's good to see that people are still taking Plague Monks even with the War Scroll change. So yeah. And also Warp Lightning Vortex is still so strong.
And Ash has called out in the chat that it is a lot of wounds. We've called out a few lists so far with a lot of wounds. This is 186 wounds. So that is a lot to chew through. And some very tough wounds under the Storm Fiends as well.
Yeah. It's really good. But yeah.
It's a fairly common Skaven list. It's got little bits of everything. Maybe, as you said, Storm Fiends instead of Giselles. It's got a unit of Plague Monks, which is fairly common. It's got a little bit of everything, and it's a ton of wounds to try and shift if you position stuff right. So
yeah.
It's going to be a little bit tough. He's going to flood the board. He's got a whole bunch of movement shenanigans. He's going to have some nice spells. A very good combination. Someone to watch out for. Another person has probably gone down a very different route versus Skaventide, which is Steve Gibb. We got to meet him in Newcastle.
There's all your Plague Monks.
We talked about 600 odd Plague Monks. We have the Vermin Lord Corruptor. We have 3 Plague Priests on a Plague of Furnace. We have the Grey Seer, which is the General. We have 40 Plague Monks, 40 Plague Monks, so 3 units of 40 Plague Monks, and then 10 additional Plague Monks and another Geminids. So where are the Plague Monks coming from? Steve's bringing them.
Yeah.
He's bringing like a quarter of them or something like that. It's a ridiculous amount. Yeah. And it's all pestilence, so it's all got to work quite well together. It'll be very interesting to see.
Another high wounds at 186 models. So 186 wounds, which can be very tough to handle. You got those plague furnaces going to be running in parallel or support with those plague monks. Three furnaces, 3 big blocks of plague monks. Do the maths.
Yeah. And Steve was quite lucky. Steve was, I think, like one of the very last waitlist tickets as well. So sweet.
Liam, nothing you'd like to add to that?
It's Plague Monks, man. It's just so many bodies, so many.
He's gonna have to watch his times, but with the new War Scroll, it should be a bit easier.
Yeah. And Death Frenzy is such a strong spell. Once that goes off, it's dangerous territory. So yeah.
We've got Robert coming in with one of two Slaves to Darkness lists. The first one is based around the Slaves to Darkness Demon Prince. We have a Chaos Sorcerer Lord, a regular Chaos Lord. We have 15 Chaos Warriors, 15 Chaos Warriors, 15 Chaos Warriors, Chaos War Shrine, Soul Grinder, Soul Grinder. So we've got another two Soul Grinders. They're coming up, a bit of a popular meta choice. What's going on here? And we have the Rapture Endless Spell. That's coming in a total of 1980 with 0 additional command points. So
what I like about this list is not going by all one keyword. So, as you can see, the Slaves to Darkness Demon Prince and the Soul Grinders all have the mark of Khorne, and the Chaos Sorcerer Lord and the Chaos Lord all have the mark of Nurgle. So, Chaos Warrior and the War Shrine as well. So, they're all buffing off different things. So, there's 2 different synergies going off, but they're all going to play differently, which I think is really cool. And this is why I think Slaves to Darkness book is up there as one of the most interesting things, because you can do stuff like this. You can pretty much play 2 armies in one with 2 different synergies going off in their own tangent. So, yeah. I'll be interested to see if it's the new Chaos Warriors or the old Chaos Warriors that he's painted up. That's so many, but I hardly doubt that. But, yeah.
Rob's an old school Slaves to Darkness player. He played Slaves to Darkness last year. So he's a true believer, I believe, in the Slaves. So it'll probably be old models, maybe a bit of a mix.
Yeah, I just think this is cool.
The Endless Spell is an interesting one. It's going to do D3 mortal wounds for each unit that it passes across, and it's also going to halve the move characteristic till the end of the round. So could be an interesting Endless Spell choice, and something that, again, people are going to be used to being a new book.
Yep.
People don't like people messing with their movement. But there's a whole bunch of additional stacks, and 100% correct. You've got a whole bunch of different marks, and you may have fought a Chaos Lord in the past, but a mark of Nurgle Chaos Lord will act very differently than one with a different mark. So, very interesting list.
Yep.
The second one is someone who is very OG when it comes to Slaves to Darkness, but of late he's been running a lot of Everchosen. That is Craig Anderson. He is running the Lord of the Everchosen himself with the Chaos Lord, the new model. I think I haven't seen this on the table just yet. I'd love to hear your thoughts around this. We've got 15 Chaos Warriors, 3 Varangard and 3 Varangard, both with the mark of Slanesh, and his Chaos Warriors have the mark of Zench. And we've also taken the Emerald Life Swarm, which is going to be healing or bringing back D6 wounds or models. So how do we think we're going to have... how do you think this one's going to handle?
I think this is just fun.
I think so, yeah. I think Craig took Everchosen to GT. Did he not?
He runs Everchosen. He normally runs Everchosen. I've played him a few times where he's had 4 units of the Varangard, or he's been around that particular build as opposed to more of the Slaves to Darkness side.
Yeah, yep, and that's cool that he's sort of sticking to that. But he's got some bodies in there. He's got the unit of Chaos Warriors. That's his bodies contingent, and then Arcanum's just going to kill everything else anyway, so he doesn't need to worry. So. I think it's a fun list. I think Craig's coming to have fun, make terrible jokes, and he also, I think, he's he signed off his email with a ridiculous title that I was not going to put on this. Some Lord of all time and sometimes space or something like that. So, it's pretty standard Craig.
He's a big wrestling fan. I think he might have tapped into Matt Hardy's, being
right. Fair enough.
Space. That would be where it's from.
Okay, I'm not a wrestling fan. I just thought he was, had a very high opinion of Arcanum. So,
Liam, anything you'd want to add to that before we move into potentially the new boogeyman that people aren't ready for just yet? Maybe.
Nah.
Nah. Zench. So we'll talk Zench. We're going to talk about James Page and Clint and Liam are already kind of cringing a little bit. And that is the Zench. What are they coming with? They were coming with the bin chicken himself, the Lord of Change, with the Rod of Sorcery, a whole bunch of cool stuff, the Fate Master, the Gaunt Summoner on his disc of Zench. We have a Blue Scribe, the Fate Caster. We have a Changeling. We have 10 Pink Horrors. We have 3 Flamers, 10 Brims, 10 Brimstones, and the Change Host. So not probably a traditional Change Host, which is flooding the board with demons. But we've also got the Life Swarm, the Pendulum, and the Dark Fire Demon Rift coming in at 2,000 points. And if you like spell casting, you are not going to have a good day with this.
So James Page is the current New Zealand master. So if he hasn't taken a standard change host, whatever that happens to be, it's because he's got a reason. I've been talking to James over the last few days as he's been painting up extra little bits for this army. It's going to be very interesting, and he will have a plan, and he will make sure that it gets executed as closely as he can, because that's the kind of player he is. He's probably one to watch. It's an interesting list.
I've played against James. I was on track to take out the Notorious GT, but James stopped me. And that guy's a machine. Like, I kid you not, there was times where I just didn't even roll dice because he just literally was doing the math and everything. I was like, I can't win. I cannot beat you. He is a machine. So then when I saw this list and I saw the name, I was like, cool, this is a math. There's something going on his head. Yeah. And as Clint said, he's got a plan and he's gonna do it.
I mean, Life Swarm's going to bring back models. He's obviously got a whole bunch. If you haven't been played against the Zench army, they're going to be rewarded by their summoning points by spells cast by you or the opponent. So lots of spell casting here, and he's going to be bringing on additional models. And correct me if I'm wrong, the Gaunt Summoner once per game can bring on 10 models.
10 pink horrors. He's going to bring 10 pink horrors.
So straight away, all of a sudden, you just got so much more summoning. So if you're worried about bodies, you're sitting there going, nah, he hasn't got many bodies. He'll bring someone pretty quickly.
Yeah, he's got a plan. He's one to watch.
And the Changeling is a nice little redeploy as well. So you can redeploy it at the start of round 1 or before the game commences. A little bit changed since the last book, but nonetheless, some shenanigans there.
Yep.
Awesome. What are you laughing at?
Just Reese's comment there. He'll just 16 sixes him off the table. #average. It's in reference to Reese rolling a ridiculous amount of sixes at Masters. It just tickled me. I'm tired. I find things funny. Leave me alone.
Maybe you should get up at 7 p.m. like Liam does. But someone who doesn't get up at 7 p.m. would be Maddie Watkins, coming over from New Zealand, running Zench as well. The reason we pulled this one out is because right now people are realizing how awesome Flamers are under the new book. You haven't seen things like Flamers in the past. They're not really that popular, but my gosh, there's a Baptism of Fire coming under the Flamer banner here. You got the Lord of Change. We've got a Gaunt Summoner on disc. We have a Fate Master, 10 pinks, 3 Flamers, 3 Flamers, 3 Flamers, 3 Flamers, an Exalted Flamer, 10 Brims, Change Host. We've also got the Demon Rift, Quicksilver Swords, and Umbral Spell Portal, Endless Spells coming in at a neat 1990, but only 83 wounds.
Again, Gaunt Summoner's there to summon stuff. I think this is generally just to do... He's a good player, Maddie. With Change Host doing all the... I think it still does the movement shenanigans, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Clint?
Yeah. I haven't read it yet.
Yeah, Change Host still has...
It's very late. So.
Change Host still has the movement shenanigans that you can redeploy 2 units.
So the Flamers are just going to do shenanigans, moving around and stuff. But yeah, I'm just double checking.
So Matty is a strong player. He played Zinch before the new book. He brought Zinch to Sydney GT. It was a change host 2, I believe.
It was Zangor heavy.
I don't remember exactly what he brought, but I was playing at the opposite end of the tournament to him. But he was doing quite well with Zinch under their old book. So, he's an experienced Zinch player. He's not one of these people who's just jumped on them because they're the new thing. He's quite a strong player as well. He's a well-known name over in the UK, where he's actually from, but he now lives in New Zealand. Stand-up bloke. I'm going to say another person to watch, not only because he's a decent player, but because he's got a pretty decent list as well. So.
Yeah, he hasn't just picked up the book because it's the latest cheese. He's someone who's got experience with it. A couple of other quick call-outs is the Exalted Flamer is going to be a nice little buff piece to the Flamers of Zench. The Change Cult is going to make the rend characteristic increase for those Flamers. Very much this is built around doing significant damage with the Flamers, and with Change Host, you're going to be able to move those around the table quite a lot, while the Lord of Change, the Pink Horrors, and some of those other casters are going to be able to be doing damage and generating those summoning points, while the Flamers and probably the Brimstones kind of clog you up as well.
Yeah.
It's a lot of shooting.
It is a lot of shooting. One of those ones that probably could handle Nagash under Petrifix. I will pull up our one and only focused Khorne, not the only list, but the one that we'll talk about. Hugh's someone who did very well on the tournament circuit. He did very well at Sydney GT, and he's been running Khorne for a while. So I thought, let's pull out Khorne and let's talk about what is a traditional Gore Pilgrims. We've got our Bloodsecrator, our Bloodstoker, our Bloodthirster of Incessant Rage, and our Unfettered Fury. We have the Slaughter Priest, 10 Blood Reavers, 5 Blood Warriors, 6 Mighty Skull Crushers, something you don't traditionally see in a Gold Pilgrims, but I'm excited to see them on the table. And then finally 6 Blood Crushers coming in, along with the Hexgorgeous Skulls and the Wraith Axe for 1980. So...
So does the Skull Crushers and the Blood Crushers and the Mighty Skull Crushers change this from being a generic Gore Pilgrims list, Liam, or is it still generic Gore Pilgrims?
Anything with Gore Pilgrims is generic Gore Pilgrims. Just everything. Shut the hell up.
No, I love to see that big heavy cavalry in there. That's cool because you're exactly right. You don't see it anywhere near as much. So
yeah,
they got a pretty good buff in the new book though, didn't they?
The Skull Crushers.
One of them. They all sound the same. Everything in Khorne sounds the same.
The Skull Crusher's got an armor save, so they used to be 4 up, they're now 3 up, but they used to be able to shrug off spells on a 5 or something. I think they've lost that from memory, so they kind of come out neutral, but I think overall and I think their points went up a little bit, but
he's got some. They're better now, but it'll be interesting to see how he uses them.
And as MB's pointed out, is if the Crushers hit surprisingly hard and have a nice save for cheap. So if you think about tying up people while you get a 6-inch pile in from your Bloodthirster, or while your prayers are coming off behind the scenes, making you reroll spells and potentially minusing spells from the Hexgorgeous Skulls. I like this twist.
And just quickly before anyone else says, what about the other Khorne list? Everyone had Tyrants of Blood. They all looked so similar when I was going through the list.
That must mean something.
Yeah, I just literally
quite good.
I literally was just scrolling like, Bloodthirster. But yeah, it's cool that someone's gone different. There's 1 or 2 Bloodthirsters here, which is surprising.
And as Jack White's called out as well, the Skull Crushers, if they apply bronze flesh on them, will be on a 2+ save. So really tough.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, Jack White is on top of his rules. Whoever you are, you're being very helpful in the chat there. Thank you.
Shout out to Jack White. We love
definitely. Do you want a job as Tio?
Well, if Liam keeps talking about his dislike of Manfred, you may have an opportunity to be a co-host of a certain YouTube channel.
No, I'm super jealous of people who can store all of that rules stuff in their head. I just can't tie all that stuff together. But he's like jumping on, yeah, just pointing out this is how these two work. Oh, okay, cool, awesome, thank you.
We'll move to order now. We'll go to our last 10. And James Page is in the chat. He said,
guy.
"No, we're not talking about me. We're not on my radar. We're not on the radar." But James Page has said, he's very appreciates the kind words. No, we've just put a mark on your head. You got the mark of the TO.
You got a massive target.
Massive target on your head, James. Good luck. So we're not going to talk about my list. We first talk about the Fishman himself, the shark meta. It is Ben Spinetti. We can skip Ben Spinetti. Yeah, your club mate. All right, he's got Volturnus, he's got the Soul Scribe, we've got the Tidecaster, we've got 10 Thralls, 6 Echelon Guard, 3 Guard. We've got 4 Alapexes, so our Sharkies, and then we've got another unit of 4. So we've got 8 Sharks hitting the table, all under Futhan for 1990. You might look at this and go, what on earth? Why is some crazy person running 8 Sharks? This man knows how to bite.
Just quickly, they're so cheap for what they do now. Holy crap! They did not need a point drop. Like, holy crap!
There's a lot more sharks this year than there was last year. Not just because Ben doubled the amount, but yeah, they're finally at that point where people are putting them in the lists, which is exactly what GW needed to do.
So for anyone who plays Deepkin or whatever, so most times Deepkin gets a really good buff on the charge. Like the Morsar Guard get Rend 2 or something. Ishlan get like +1 save or whatever. But Alapexes always have Rend. Always. And they always do some serious damage even if they don't charge. And Ben's always known that. And he's done really well with them. And yeah, they are so cheap for what they freaking do. I've played against this list and like it's just painful, so painful.
I like that if they shoot, they shoot a character and they do a wound on a character, they get to they can reroll charges or they get pluses to their charge.
So if they're wounded, if a model's wounded or something, they get a reroll charge if they're within 12 of it. Yeah.
My prayer for Ben Spinetti at CanCon is he gets off the Kraken Tooth. So the Kraken Tooth is an artifact where once per battle in the shooting phase, you pick a unit within 12, you roll a d6. If you roll a 1 to a 5, it does d3 mortal wounds. If you roll a 1, you hurt yourself. 2 to 5, you hurt the opponent. But what he wants to roll a 6 because it does 2d6 mortal wounds. So it's pretty crazy.
What?
So I'll read the rule. So once per battle, I've already told you that. The model, so pick one model in the enemy. The model you pick is slain if it has a wound characteristic of 10 and suffers 2d6 mortal wounds if the wound characteristic are 10 plus. So basically just auto-delete a hero if it's under 10 wounds or do 2d6 mortal wounds if it's 10 or more wounds. So pretty brutal. But the likelihood of getting it off is...
Yeah, it's a big bet, but if it comes off really well, and it will surprise people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next list.
Cool. All right. Ben is someone as well as Ben's been playing his Deepkin now for a few years now, so very very accustomed to this army. Obviously, we've got a whole bunch of teleport shenanigans and other things that you can do. That's just one of the many tools, but calling out the Alapexes as something it's a little bit unique. The next list we'll talk about is our one Sylvaneth list, which Sylvaneth didn't get a lot of love this year. Not as many Sylvaneth lists as I would have expected. Andrew Bigwood thinks he needs more turtles. 100% correct. He does need more turtles, and you'll be happy to see Rob Kern, who he must be under Robert, who is running. Kern. Just you be quiet. He's running 4 sharks. Sorry, for 4 turtles. 4 turtles. Pretty remarkable. So shout out to Rob. He is my club mate, and I remembered that. But let's get back to Ryan. So Ryan, Hoops, Hoops is running the Dreadwood. He's got the Arch Revenant. He's got a Branch Wraith. He's got the Branch Wraith. He's got 30 Dryads, 5 Spite Revs, 5 Spite Revs, 5 Spite Revs, 9 Kurnoth Hunters, 6 Kurnoth Hunters with an Outpass Battalion, which is kind of in capturing the Spite Revs. He has the Balwin Vortex, the Spite Swarm Hive, the Palisades, and an extra command point coming in at 1980 with 2 command points up his sleeves, double Throne of Vines on his spellcasters, and the Jewel of the Withering as an artifact. Liam, you are our go-to Sylvaneth guru. And we know Ryan is a great player, got an invitation to the Masters last year. What do you see when you look at this Sylvaneth list?
This list is so messed. So freaking messed. Especially
is that a good or a bad thing?
It's so good. So with this current player pack that Clint has with Mirapool, he gets now more teleports than anyone else. So he can easily teleport like the Dryads or whatever. But so what Dreadwood can do, they can have a command ability. They all have a command. All the heroes get this command ability where you select a unit holier than 12 and you get to re-teleport that unit 9 inches away from enemies. Add that with a Spite Swarm Hive to give them +3 to the move. So now most of these things are going on a 6-inch charge. He has 9 Scythes, 6 Scythes. So this is a really good counter to Petrifex, as everyone says, like the big boogeyman, because these guys will ruin their day. It's just so strong. He can just teleport. He's got the movement. If anything, this has probably got the best movement. This is probably the best movement list in all of them because he's got Mirapool, trees, teleporting, and he's got the Dreadwood command ability. So he has 3 ways to teleport. The Arch Revenant's giving the Crown of Hunters reroll once to hit. And yeah, it's Throne of Vines for +2 casting. If those guys are staying still, you are not going to be unbinding anything from them. Because it stacks. So it goes 2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? Trees. But yeah, so they're playing well in the Magic game as well. So yeah, I rate it. It's really good. I actually think he's in probably will be going 5-1 if he has a good run. If he's going a good run, 5-1.
Those 2 big blocks of Kurnoths will be hard to shift, especially that block of 9. Although you've got to question if you can get those 9 into combat, or if he's got the redundancy in there, so he's just doing max damage at every opportunity.
He's doing redundancy and lowering his drops. Sylvaneth can't win the dropping game, but these 2 units are bully units, where people are scared about them. Like everyone's like, screw that, I don't want to deal with that. So really good. This is a very similar to Laurie Huggett, who we see in the UK, except Huggett runs 9 Scythes, 6 Swords, but I think Ryan's just gone screw it, Ren 2 all day, every day. So yeah, it's a really good list.
The Spite Swarm is going to give extra movement. Obviously, Throne of Vines is just gonna keep stacking that +2, and the Arch Raid's
blocking. Yeah, Palisade's going to be blocking. 30 Dryads are going to be chaff just to block people off, or make sure he just grabs an objective and tell people to get stuffed. Yeah, it's got tools everywhere. It's an awesome list. If anything, this is the list that I've been looking at writing myself or building myself for my Sylvaneth. So yeah, good shout, Ryan.
Anything else you want to add, Clint?
Not really.
It's nice to see Sylvaneth on the table. I would have expected more. Obviously, this is not the only one. There is 7 odd, 7 from memory. There might be more, there might be less, but there was a good amount of Sylvaneth, but that's just one that we've picked out. The one that I'm excited to talk about, and anyone who can see me search may know where I'm going with this, and that is, I might build some suspense. This is the most weirdest list that I have seen at an event. By a very competitive and competent player. So without further ado, I'm going to bring up a very exciting list, and that is Sam Smorgan from the Dwellers Below. And my gosh, what on earth is going on here? Because we have a Lord on a Star Drake, we have Marathi, we have a Skink Star Priest, we have Gotrek, we have 10 Free Guild Archers, 10 Free Guild Guard, 10 Longbeards, and Life Swarm coming in at a total 2,000 points. We have 1,500 points on the dot in 3 models alone. This is broken brilliance, or is this crazy person talk?
It is a complete about face from his Masters list, which had like 30 drops in it or something like that. So he's obviously got tired of putting models down and gone, well, if I just take 3 that are 500 points, then that's most of the work done. No, I don't know. I haven't heard Sam talk about this list yet. It's going to look cool because it's, 4 heroes and that's it kind of thing. 3 of them are quite good. I love the cheeky Starseer in there for the
just chilling.
For that chance. Well, he's quite good check, but quite good tech for the cheeky sort of command points and stuff. So, what's he got? He's got some archers in there. They're quite good at zoning stuff out.
Yeah, the free good archers get a free move before the battle commences. They can, which can be a nice zone denier or potentially claim an objective early on.
He's got a couple of random little battle line units in there, and then a live swarm, because how else do you keep those huge characters alive than with a empowered live swarm? That's a good point, Michael. Where is his destruction? He was going to bring destruction. So
he was. He said he's year of destruction. He was going some his goblin KO. Bit disappointed here, Sam. Where is that? But this is a pretty sweet list. Liam, anything you'd want to add to this? This is such a. I would be very happy if this won CanCon, because the world already thinks Australia is on crack when it comes to our list tech. If someone saw this win CanCon, I think they would just think we're playing a completely different game, and I don't know what they would say. But as Jack White said, good luck beating this list in 3 places of power.
I honestly, fuck. Sam, you've won. Like, I can't do. I'm literally trying to think of what I can do with it, and I'm just like, Maratha you can't kill unless you kill her in small form with like an auto slain rule. Gotrek just tanks everything, and then there's a Lord Celestin on Star Drake. He's just gonna cool.
I think this is the type of list that I would just go to the bar, grab some drinks, and just have a laugh, because this is going to be an awesome game.
Also, Sam is an absolute gent, so like even if you get played against him, you're gonna have a freaking cracker of a time. So yeah.
Well, and the other call out is he's a very good player as well. So do not look at this and think it's going to be like you can't. He's got secret tech in here that I can't see other than just the hero hammer. There's more to this than meets the eye, but it's going to be an awesome game.
So messed.
What can't you? Cool. Let's bring up. Spell his name correct. We'll bring up Stormcast Sean. So Sean Bates, the other half of the Notorious podcast. Go check them out, definitely. Very cool dudes. Bringing the Stormcast Anvils of the Heldenhammer. What do we got? The Lord Arcanum, the Lord Relictor, both got the same prayer, the translocation. The Knight of Zeros, 5 Judicators, Sequitors. We've got the Vanguard Raptors with long strikes, 3 Aether Wings, 5 Vanguard Hunters, and then 6 Morsar Guard Eel allies coming in at 1990. So we saw this list on Twitter recently doing some serious damage. We know Sean has been playing a shooting version of Stormcast for a while now and has done very well. Won Sydney GT with some pretty cool shooting, although it was 2,500 points. You're shooting back.
Shooting's been around for a while. This list is pretty much based on doing mortal wounds from long strikes with double shooting, and then the Morsar Guard going in to really, because thing is with Stormcast, they don't really have much flying except for Aether Wings and Prosecutors and stuff. So the Morsar Guard are really good to fly over allies. Like if there's someone with a key character just chilling at the back, the Morsar Guard can fly over, snipe them, move on. But yeah, he's gonna shoot people. Yeah, I think it's good use of allies, in my opinion.
Yeah, and the Aether Wings are going to go out there and start denying charges when you start getting close to those shooters.
Yeah. Good list.
Cliff, anything you'd add or want to comment on?
I think he might struggle on bodies if he gets if he gets the wrong matchup and his opponent has lots of bodies, because mortal wounding long strikes is good against some things, but 40 plague monks who are immune to battle shock don't care. He's got the Morsar Guard in there that give him some movement, because otherwise it's a fairly static army. Yes, he's got the Relictors, but they don't always work. And I imagine that will be moving his Vanguard Raptors around to optimal locations. He might have fun playing against a Sylvaneth player because he can't see anything. It's a decent Stormcast list, but at the same time, I'm not sure Stormcast are that great at the moment. So.
Yeah, I think for us, the draw is going to be so incredibly important for this one. So it could be very favorable for him, or it could be a challenge depending on where the matchups lay. But I would not write him off. Definitely someone to watch out for.
Yeah, so he's got Sylvaneth first up because he's playing against Chris Welfare, and I think he has sort of stated that one of his goals is to do as good or better than last year. So he was top quarter, I think, last year. So we'll see.
So he's aiming for a 5-1, top half of 4-2.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, if I remember I think 4-2 is kind of where you need to be if you want to be in that top 25. The next list we'll talk about is one that is a bit lulls. I really like it. I've been talking to Simon Hall a lot recently about our love of Grey Water, which is just better in Tempest Eye. But Scott has run the Cities of Sigmar with Grey Water Fastness. He's got the Cogsmith, which is the General, the Rune Lord, the Hurricanum with Battle Mage and Lord Ordinator, supporting the 4 Hellstorm rocket batteries. He's also got 20 Iron Drakes, 10 Longbeards, 10 Free Guild Guard, and some secret list tech, which is the 3 Gyrocopters, which people are starting to notice can do some serious damage when you combined it with the spell. Either way, long story short, that's coming in at 1990. And he's also got the Battalion of the Artillery Company. So a lot of long-range shooting, a lot of easy to hit, easy to wound type rolls from the buffs from the Cogsmith, the Lord Ordinator, and the Hurricanum.
Yeah. Just shooting. Didn't he just ask if shooting was coming back like 4 minutes ago?
It was a rhetorical ask, like opening a conversation.
Yeah. He's
Hellstorm sorry.
Go Clint.
Hellstorm Storm batteries aren't as good as they used to be. They're still decent.
They used to be able to ignore line of sight, but now they require line of sight. They have gone down a little bit, but they're not nearly as good as they used to be.
Yeah, you used to be able to hide them behind things and just shoot off stuff or shoot things you couldn't see, hiding characters and things like that. It's cool. I'm happy to see people taking artillery. It's not a super common thing. I say as we have actually 2 of these sorts of lists in the lineup, but I'm not sure on what Scott's coming for. I don't think he's shooting for first place. I think he's just planning to shoot. So,
yeah, just shooting.
Yep. Yay.
Cameron Taylor is another Cities of Sigmar. We know there's 19 Cities of Sigmar lists. This is a Hammer Hall. This is Hammer Hall.
Did you just hear Clint?
So the yay?
Yeah. I saw this list, right, when it came in, and I got the biggest smile on my face. So, yeah, sorry, I couldn't contain my joy at seeing this list. So,
all right. Do you want to read it out? Can you do the honor? All right.
Rightio. If I can kind of read it. Right. So we've got a Freehold General and Griffin. We've got a Hurricanum with a Battle Mage that can fly. We've got a Knight in Cantor. We've got 1, 2, 3 units of 6 Demogryph Knights that are sitting in the Hammerhallian Lancers Battalion, which, come on, like, who isn't excited to see this? Then he's got the Deus Arcanum, which I don't think I've ever seen played on the table. and then the Malevolent Maelstrom.
I ran
for 2,000 points.
I run that Arcanum at the teams event. It's wonderful to move your knight in Cantor around the board. As long as it's got 6 wounds or less. No, 5 wounds, under 6 wounds, you can move around and keep up with those Demigryph knights. And obviously that Thermal Rider Cloak's going to move the Hurricanum around with the Griffin and the Demigryphs.
Yeah, so Cameron is... he works at Games Workshop here in Queensland. He's actually from the Mount Gravatt store. I was super excited to see he decided to come to the tournament, and I believe that there's like a display board and stuff to go with this. So I think it will look amazing as well. So yeah, it's not something that you see every day. Hordes and hordes of Demigryphs. So that's pretty cool, and they're tough to shift, and they can do some damage on the charge now. So
yeah, you just got to keep them away from your side of the board. Otherwise, they're going to get a whole bunch of additional benefits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't believe this list got missed by me when I was scrolling through. But when you messaged me, Clint, saying how the F did you miss this list, and I read it, I was
why
like,
is this not in our list?
I was just like, oh shit, that is awesome. Yeah, I think this is cool. I'm scared of this list. It's awesome. It's a very Jack Armstrong list.
Yeah, well, I mean, Jack Armstrong was, going to be running around 18 Demigryphs, and this is the type of build. But we haven't seen it on the table very much. A lot of people talked about this type of build in cities when it very first got announced, but no one's actually really brought it to the table. So I'd be curious to see how well Cameron goes with this, because it's, again, nice to see Demigryphs back on the table. They've finally got the War Skull correct.
Yeah.
After about 1 million points drops.
Yeah. So you just some things you can't fix with points drops. So
no, they need a bit of a rewrite. Lee Wilmot's coming in with the last Cities of Sigmar list we'll talk about today, which is coming in from Tempest Eye. He has a whole bunch of cool shooting coming out of this army from the Navigator, the Battle Mage, the Hurricanum, the Knight of Zeros, the Frost Phoenix. But where the shooting's coming from, you've got your Iron Drakes, your Longbeards, your Dark Shards, your Gunstock Thunderers, your Gyrocopters, and your Frigate. So in Tempest Eye, you can bring in KO and not count as allies. And Hawkeye is a wonderful command trait. This is going to help the shooting, and obviously the Frost Heart is just a pain in the bottom.
Sorry, I was just about to say Lee just won a tournament in New Zealand.
He did. It was the old KO rules, though. I think it was a similar list, but it was using the old Battle Tome.
Yeah, he's changed out the Arcanaut Company for Dark Shards. He's added in a Frigate. I think what else? Trying to think what else he's added. I think that was the other 2 big changes. But the KO book did ruin that list that he did win with. This is strong still. Lee is one of those players where he is very it's just tight as. I played him last year when we had a Sylvaneth off and my head exploded. We both walked away with our heads just being like we can't think anymore. So yeah.
Did he run the Frost Phoenix last year in the Sylvaneth, or did he go with Eels in the end?
He went with Eels.
Yeah.
And that was an awesome list with Alariel.
Yeah. Lee's one of these people who's been running sort of mixed order for quite some time. Probably since CanCon last year, running mixed order and just sort of honing that in. So
he's run good fairly well.
Yeah, there's a lot of high movement models here between the Hurricanum with the Thermal Rider Cloak. He's got a whole bunch of the Phoenix. He's got, the Gyrocopters. He's got the Frigate. A lot of good movement, some good shooting. He's got a whole range of sturdy models. So, and that Hawkeye command trait, also the battle trait on the Navigator, is just going to make those shooters just so much better.
Yeah.
So someone to watch out for is CanCon himself, a man who has done amazing work with KO, and the Admiral is back. Surprise of the Century. He's running KO, whether there was a new book or not. I'm pretty sure he would have run KO. He's got the Endrin Master. He's got the new one. How do you even pronounce that? The magical suit.
Dirigible suit.
The dirigible suit. It's been a long night. You've got the Aether Chemist. You've got 20 Arcanaut Company. You've got the Gunstroke Gun Hauler. You've got another Gun Hauler. You've got 20 Thunderers. You've got an Ironclad under the Escort Wing Battalion. And he has the Artifact, the Spell in the Bottle. And he's decided of all the endless spells you could possibly choose from, he has gone the Realm Scourge Rapture, which is Slaves to Darkness. Yeah. Coming in at 1990 with one additional command point. Very low wound count at 89, but a lot of mobile shooting. And this man knows what he is doing with KO.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's shooting things.
Yeah.
That's what he's doing.
What does the army do? I shoot. I don't think he actually has any. He has no close combat units.
No.
Yeah.
Because he's a shooting army.
Yeah, KO is not really renowned for their combat.
No, you can build in engine riggers and stuff if you want to kind of hit things. It's very shooty. Lots of thunderers, which is interesting. But yeah, there's going to be some massive firepower coming out of this. We'll just have to see if it's enough to take on some of these other lists where, they've got so many wounds. So, yep.
I think the surprise here will be people not having experienced the fly high ability. So with the Ironclad and the Gun Haulers, being able to remove yourself from battle and then kind of move around and deploy yourself 1 inch from a terrain piece and outside of 9 of an enemy model. So being able to reposition and just it's such a unique piece in the game that I doubt many people have experienced it. It's going to catch a lot of people off guard.
Yeah. It's such a new book, both the Caradron and the Zedge book, but I think some people are going to be quite surprised on what they can do.
Yeah.
It's going to be a huge advantage to the players who definitely know back to front of that book already when it comes into games. And some of the top tier players really need to start studying it. They want to do well at CanCon, need to start studying these armies because there's a slight chance that you might get paired up with it. But if that pairing does happen, you need to know. And this is definitely an army list, which when I saw it, I had to quickly look up what on earth everything is doing. So yeah.
Teapot's calling out that he believes that the wound count here is 119 wounds. Potentially it was using the old War Scroll builder in that transition during list submission, so it might be a few more wounds than this.
No, because Gunstock Thunderers are 2 wins each now. That's probably what's happening here.
Yeah, so
add an extra 10 or so. Yeah.
Yeah. How often can the spell in a bottle be used? It's a once per game spell artifact. It's also worth calling out. I really like the Endrin Master's artifact, the bomblets, which basically once per battle in the shooting phase, you can pick one unit within 6 of the model and you roll a d6 on a 2+. They take a mortal wound, and you keep rolling until you roll a 1. So you can just keep doing these infinite mortal wounds until you roll a 1. So I'd be curious to see how many mortal wounds he puts out on average, or in total, actually, from the bomblets.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. We'll go to Fire Slayers next, which will be Charles Black, someone who's been preparing and playing with the Fire Slayers for a little bit of time now. Jumped over from Skaven into the Fire Slayers. What is he running? He is running the Rune Master. He's running a Rune Father, a Rune Smiter, and a Battlesmith. He's got 3 units of Hearthguard, Ulrich Hearthguard. So a unit of 20 Hearthguard Berserkers. And then he's got 20 of Hearthguard Berserkers. So one sitting in the Lord of the Lodge unit, one is not. He's got 1 unit he's got 2 battalions. One is the Lord of the Lodge, one is the Forged Brethren. And finally taking the Runic Firewall for a total of 1980, walking through with 2 command points and 132 wounds under the Hermdar Lodge.
So he's going to be fighting first when he wants to.
Yeah.
This is a good list. This is a good list.
Also, it's a very pretty list.
So we know that Hearthguard Berserker units have gone down from that traditional 30 block to 20. So Clint, why are you calling this out as a good list?
Because he's got 220 blocks of the Berserkers. I think most of the army fits into the 2 battalions there, so he's super low drops.
I think he's
yeah, I think it's the 2 battalions and then 1 Hearthguard unit. I think. Don't quote me on that. And then Hermdar being able to fight first. He's got a couple of command points there, so he can fire that off. They're super resilient. Charles has played them a lot. He's a good player. So I think this is a list to watch. And I think Michael Clark in the chat has also called this out as he's calling it as the winner, but I think it's got potential.
And has also called it a nightmare. So you don't kill lots of this. You either work around it, or So I mean, likely shrugging wounds on mortal wounds and mortal wounds on a 4+. He's regenerating command points from the Aether Quartz Brooch. He's subtracting -1 from wound rolls under the lodge. There's like a lot of negatives, but also some. This is super durable. Like, this is really hard to shift. This will be really tough.
Yeah. He's brought this for a reason. So, yeah,
he's 3-drop or 2-drop.
3. 2 battalions, and then there's one unit that doesn't live in it.
There's one unit that's an outlier in it.
Yeah,
I think it's
still 3-drop is really good.
Yeah.
What do you think of?
The average drop with Battalion is like 6 or 7.
So anything under 5 is quite good. So there's a big tick here for a list to watch.
Yeah.
Yep. What's up next, Anthony?
I'm just checking. I think we might be on our last. No, I think we're done. Actually, for lols, let's bring up one more list, and that is not lols, but we'll bring up the last We'll bring up a Seraphon list to end the show.
Nobody wants to look at that.
Why? It's fun. We have Austin Cranefield, who's running Seraphon. He's got the Slan Star Master. He's got a Skink Star Priest, a Skink Star Priest. He's got an Astrolith Bearer, Skink. So 5-6 units of 10 Skinks, 3 units of Razordon, 1 Salamander, 1 unit of 3 Salamanders, 3 Skinks, 3 Rippers. Under the Shadow Strike Star Host at 1980 with 1 extra command point. Bit of summoning, bit of shooting, bit of movement shenanigans.
So MSU.
It's a Shadow Strike list. It's a Seraphon list that's got lots of Skinks and your Rippers in your Shadow Strike. That's pretty much it. Unfortunately, with the current state of Seraphon, that's just kind of, it's one of those things. If it's not a Shadow Strike, it's a Thunderquake, unfortunately. That's not taking anything away from Austin. It's just unfortunate that because the book is so old, there's only a few ways that this stuff gets run. So yeah.
Fingers crossed we get something new soon. They deserve it.
Yeah, there's a couple of lists in there that have bloody Saurus Knights. So, I read that and thought, that's a mistake. No, they're in there on purpose.
Did you click the wrong button? Nah. Oh, okay, cool.
No, you chose those properly? Okay. Yep.
You bought these like collecting boxes.
Something like that. So, yeah, it's unfortunate about the Seraphon being like that, but hopefully, next year we have just as much variety in these lists, and we can talk about the cool new Seraphon stuff that people are bringing. And so we've got, what have we got? We've got Seraphon, that's an old book. We've got maybe Legions
Oldest?
because it's
Legion and Nurgle, then the oldest.
Olders, and then so you got those. We know that elves are coming. Yeah, we know that elves are coming. They've talked about giants. That might turn into something. We saw that big gut plate on the rumor engine the other day. That could turn into giants. Giant armies at CanCon 2021. How cool would that be? So, yeah.
I think next year will be awesome to see what happens, especially in the next few releases that are coming out in the first half of the year. So,
I like how we're talking about next year when this CanCon is literally less than a week away. So
I didn't segue. I was talking about how good it will be to see the Seraphon lists next year.
Yeah.
But still talking about that Seraphon list. But anyway, that's my fault.
So to wrap up the show, I guess, do we have any particular call-outs that we want to make on who might win it? Any surprises, even maybe an allegiance that you think could win it? Let's at least put our allegiances out on the table, let alone
Ogres. Ogres and Fire Slayers.
Okay. Any reason why?
Well, we saw Chuck's list, and list was messed. And Ogres, they are literally the kryptonite of OBR. They got bodies. They count as 2 models for objectives. They can output quite a bit of damage, especially the stone horns with the amount of rend they have. So yeah, that's why.
Okay, Clint, what do you think's going to take it out?
I think Zinch is going to be very strong, based on just how crazy some of those lists are, and possibly a bit of unpreparedness. But you still have to get the right matchups. I think there's a good chance that there's going to be an OBR list on the podium, based purely on numbers as well. Zinch, OBR.
Ogres.
Maybe. I don't know. It's hard to say. There's 230 odd lists. It's hard to sort of pick allegiances that that there are good lists in. Yeah, Fire Slayers is probably a good bet as well.
I'm going to go on the record and say I think Ironjaws have the tools to really podium. I think they are another army that can handle OBR really well. So I will put my money on either a Zench. I think we've got some good talented players like Matt Watkins and Ash McEwen running around with Zench. I think we've got some good Ironjaws players running around, the likes of Joel McGrath. We've just seen a small sample of those.
Hello Heart.
I think know.
Well, in the realms, like in this realm, there's spells to take advantage of. They're already good. It's a good shout, I think.
Okay. You're happy with your own shout of Hello Heart?
As a possibility, yeah.
Yeah. I think, but matchup dependent. They come up against Zench. Their run's probably screwed. But who knows? To wrap up the coverage, thank you for everyone who's joined us for what's gone for 3 hours. I appreciate you guys staying along with me as I lost power at the start of the day. I hope you guys found this valuable. All the lists are available now on the Call to Glory Facebook page, and no doubt, Clint, you're going to be putting them on the Heralds of War website. Or at least going on AOS Shorts. They'll be around. Search CanCon, Call to Glory. Call to Glory is the official event. CanCon is just the convention. Clint, we're going to be broadcasting on Twitch, so do keep an eye out on Twitch, where there'll be coverage across the entire weekend. No doubt there'll be a whole bunch of hashtag content creators doing a lot of post wrap up as well. So keep an eye out to see who wins, what's going to happen. I'm sure there's going to be lots of laughs, lots of lols. I appreciate you guys both being on the stream. Any quick shout outs you want to make? Heralds of War podcast, go subscribe to them as well. Lots of shout outs to content creators today.
Yeah. I think somebody in the chat noted that as well. Yeah, follow us on Heralds of War. Over the weekend, if you can't jump on Twitch, we will keep our Twitter feed rolling non-stop with videos and photos and bits and pieces, just to make sure that you can follow on with the event at home if you can't make it on the day.
Great. Liam, anything you want to say to wrap this up?
If you see me, say hi. I don't bite, even though people say I'm scary and I'm evil and mean. What? I don't bite.
Make sure to come and claim your free bottle of water from Liam, who's shouting all day.
So you need to kill 40 ghouls off Jesse. What's the other thing that we get free water for?
I don't know. You've made a lot.
You were just promises. You were like Oprah at one point there. Just yeah.
Let's make a CanCon bingo. If people can complete this certain task, to get some free water.
All right. Follow Liam. Follow Liam on Twitter and find the way that you can earn yourself a free bottle of water. All right, and if you've liked what we're doing here, please like, subscribe, comment. Muchly appreciated here on the channel, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on YouTube. We'll keep up the content coverage, and we'll probably have a wrap-up show on the Wednesday after CanCon. We'll let you know how it goes and share some photos and some stories, and I'm sure it's going to be a lot of laughs. So thanks very much, guys. Happy wargaming. Get back in there, roll lots of sixes, and we'll chat to you again soon.
Peace.